Nobody does it, Bennett. Yes, I've gone and said it. Movies and games, some things that are lame. Nobody does it, Bennett.
Good evening and welcome. There are some superb movies ahead on Movie Review Universe. Next time, we'll join Patrick Swayze as he gets murdered and haunts his girlfriend in the 1990 film Ghost. Right now though, it's time for Spider-Man. Hello, and welcome to Nobody Does It Bennett, Movie Review Universe, otherwise known as the MRU. I am your host, the Greg Bennett Experience, and tonight I'm joined by the first time by two delightful people, Tenson and Keelin, as we go through the movie Spider-Man from 2002. Tenson, welcome aboard to Nobody Does It Bennett. Are you excited?
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for having me.
That's right, the door wouldn't lock. Classic. Keelin, welcome along. Were you bitten by any spiders lately?
Only the poisonous ones. But thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Only the ones that cause severe pain and then death.
And then ribs from the rest.
I saw a meme recently where it was like, Peter got bitten by a spider, had a big golf ball sized welt on his arm. The reason he didn't go to the doctors because Peter lives in America and can't afford to go to the doctors.
Healthcare jokes.
That was great.
What we're going to do in tonight's show is cover the Sam Raimi directed classic Spider-Man, a movie that helped usher in the superhero blockbuster, along with other Marvel films like X-Men and Blade. We will first give you our history with the Spider-Man character himself and also the movie. After that, we'll run through the film beat for beat, giving our opinions along the way, as well as acting out certain scenes, which is pretty much about 80% of the dialogue. I couldn't cut anything.
Too many classic lines.
Too good.
So, like, until you go through it, it's like, I'll keep that. Yeah, I don't need that, but it's really good. I'll keep that as well. Before you know it, 80% of the script is now in ours as well. This is the most dialogue-heavy script so far in the short history of Nobody Does It Bennett. So, Keelin and Tenson, I hope you're ready for a whole lot of fun.
All 67 pages of it.
I'm already.
67 delightful pages. I couldn't even get the staple right through all, so they're in 3 sections. Once we have gone through the film Spider-Man, we will give you our ratings. Since there are 3 hosts this week, I will sit out this one, giving the official ratings to Tenson and Keelin.
Oh, how kind.
They'll decide Spider-Man's fate. I'll say what I would have put, though, as we go along, just so you knew if it had been right or wrong, or just what I'd go with. But we'll do that at the end after the movie itself. So, Tenson, give us your backstory on the history you have with Spider-Man movies.
Well, when I was about 8, I think, I watched Spider-Man 2. I had the VCR copy of it.
Wow, VHS.
VHS,
My
yes.
God. What is that?
Back in the day. It's a bit of ancient history now. I binged it like so much. I fell in love with the character and Sam Raimi's like adaptation of the Spider-Man, like the comics, and you know Peter Parker as a character and everything. He was great.
Awesome. Keelin, what is your history with the Spider-Man character?
See, the thing is, for me, I started reading the comics, and I fell in love with Spider-Man immediately. Such a relatable character out of all of them. Just this kid from Queens, going about school, doing his life, then he gets bit, turns into a superhero.
Unless you watched the Amazing Spider-Mans where it was all planned.
Yeah, when he's a skater boy. But yeah, I love Spider-Man as a character. I first watched the 2002 Sam Raimi Spider-Man I must have been about 5 years old. Like, probably about, legit 5 years after it came out. Because I was born in the same year it was released.
Wow, it makes me feel super old. I was 16 when this movie came out, or almost 17. So I saw this when I was almost out of high school for the first time. But yeah, I grew up being a big Superman fan, but a huge Batman fan. I still am to this day.
Oh, we know.
The whole place is pretty much Batman. It's not a coincidence that the first episode was Batman on my podcast. I did watch some of the animated shows as a kid, but when I first saw the first Raimi Spider-Man My fondness for the character grew dramatically. Once I saw Spider-Man 2, though, I was hooked. The thing Spider-Man has that most other superheroes don't is the everyday struggle to keep going. The threat of being homeless due to a lack of funds is a very real thing, yet he still decides to be the selfless hero we all know and love, even at the expense of his own life. And that's the thing about Spider-Man. Love Batman, love Superman, but they don't really care about the alter egos having to survive. Everything's always about how their struggles as a hero is. It's not about just a struggle as a person. And that's what Spider-Man always has been. Like you said, he's very relatable.
Yeah, Peter's still got 2 lives he has to live.
Yeah.
Well, probably so do other people, but Peter's invested in both equally.
No one's life is pretty much, not to say ruined, but kind of like just harmed by the fact that he is a superhero.
It is good that the second one sort of analyzes him as a person and his struggles to keep between
Goes
the
into
superhero
his romance
and
struggles
the
with
exactly,
MJ
yeah.
more than the first one.
And I think it's why that one is still seen as one of the best superhero films of all time, is because, you know, Doc Ock's great and everything, but the fact he goes through the, I can't live 2 lives anymore. He doesn't like do that at the start of the movie and go, you know what, I just don't want to do it anymore. It takes him an hour in the movie of you seeing just his everyday life. Like, he gets smacked in the head by Sam Raimi, the director, in a backpack when he's going to varsity, and he sees Dr. Connors, and everyone just looks at him like he's just hopeless and he can't do anything right because he's trying to do everything.
Little do they know.
The whole montage where he's like, raindrops are falling on my head and stuff, and that second one is so good. But this one,
Choice of music as well.
and this one, yeah, sets up so that story can be told. If it wasn't for this one, you couldn't go straight into that. So that's what I love about this first movie as well.
It makes him very likable.
Yes. And you realize he is someone who's trying to do the right thing. That scene in the second one where he's talking to Uncle Ben, the ghost of Uncle Ben.
Oh, no.
I'm not Spider-Man. No more.
Teary-eyed scene, surely, for all Spider-Man fans.
But hey, Spider-Man 2's in the future. At the moment, we're talking about the first one. If you like what you hear or have a question for us, perhaps about Spider-Man, well, you can contact us. That's right. You can go to Nobody Does It Bennett's Facebook page, or you can hit us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. Or you can email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's a Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. There are many ways to talk movies or video games with us, so why not? You can also go to Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or to the webpage nobodydoesitbennett.buzzsprout.com if you want to listen and subscribe to the podcast. Right, Tenson, Keelin, are you ready for the great responsibility of going through the movie Spider-Man 2002 with me?
Aha, nice pun there.
I tried to do it with Peter, but he wasn't available.
Beta. Beta.
Beta.
Oh, beta.
Ladies and gentlemen, Spider-Man from 2002.
Alfred, nobody does it, Bennett.
Right, so let's go through the movie Spider-Man from 2002. Movie begins with the Marvel comic flipping logo, which leads into the cool web credits, with the now iconic Danny Elfman score. Some of the computer-generated Spider-Man images and buildings look a bit dated though. This starting, that music when you hear that din 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 din.
You just know it's about to get real.
So iconic.
It ruined the Columbia logo for so many years for me, because every time I saw that, like, I'm hearing din
Yeah.
You just think Spider-Man.
Every time I see the Statue of Liberty now, all I can think is, oh, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
And as we go through this film, you'll notice that this theme comes back again and again, but in such different ways, which I love as well. It's such a good piece of music. Danny Elfman, I love your Batman theme the most. Probably Batman Returns is my favorite Elfman score. But geez, this theme. It's up there.
It's definitely one of the best.
The scene changes from the credits web animations to a web on a city farescape, with the following narrations.
Who am I? You sure you want to know? The story of my life is not for the faint of heart. If somebody said it was a happy little tale, if somebody told you I was just your average guy, not a care in the world, somebody lied.
Cut to a shot of a school bus going down the street.
But let me assure you, this, like any story worth telling, is about a girl.
Cut to a shot of the students inside the school bus.
That girl, the girl next door, Mary Jane Watson, the woman I've loved since before I even liked girls. I'd like to tell you that's me next to her. Aw, heck, I'd even take him.
Cut to a shot of a man boy chasing the bus and tapping the window. He's a man, alright? He ain't a 16-year-old boy.
Not yet.
Hey, stop the bus! Tell him to stop, please! Hey, stop the bus!
Mary Jane approaches the bus driver.
Stop the bus.
He's been chasing us since Woodhaven Boulevard.
I like the look of the driver. He's like, okay then.
Fine, I'll pick up the nerd.
I noticed when I had subtitles on too, that another student yells out, "Catch a cab, Parker!" I love
amazing.
that. I didn't notice that until the subtitles. "Catch a cab, Parker!" The bus driver stops the bus and Peter gets on.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm late.
Peter looks for a seat to sit down, but everyone tells him that he can't sit next to them. Then Peter gets tripped up by one of Flash's douchey friends. Douche friend. That's what I'm going to call him for the rest of this. So if you look at the script, his name is Douche friend.
Cool. Douche friend it is.
It is a little weird how old some of these teenage students look, though. I put teenage students in quotations.
These high schoolers looking 40.
Flash Thompson's got to be mid-30s, right? I like, as I was watching it in 4K as well, because I watched it in 4K, you can see all the 5 o'clock shadows. So I'm just a 16-year-old boy who has like a beautiful 5 o'clock shadow.
How old was Tobey Maguire in this
I
film?
think he's about 24, 25.
Oh, wow.
Mid-20s already.
How old was Kirsten Dunst in that movie?
She turned 18 on the set.
Oh, Joe.
Oh, wow. She was a lot younger.
This scene is interesting, though, as it shows you that Peter is at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to social circles. Shows you his creepy love for MJ, but the thing that interests me the most is that you see that Peter is already a person that runs late. Even before he's Spider-Man, he could have been interesting to show Peter was never late before he was Spider-Man, but to show a little more of this when it actually starts infecting his life. Or affecting, not infecting, because the spider infects him, but it affects his life. I thought it was kind of weird that he was already someone who was late.
It's an interesting perspective. Yeah.
Just makes me wonder what he was doing that morning when he's late for the bus.
Slept in.
Teenage things, you know.
Before cell phones, didn't have that double alarm.
The iPhone alarm.
Peter's class arrives outside a building for a school field trip. Midtown High School seniors, remember, it's a privilege to be here. Where is here? I don't remember them saying exactly where they are. This is not Oscorp. It's just a science exhibit. Is it at the town hall? No one knows. It doesn't say what it is.
It's just a building.
Peter sees MJ waving and smiles and waves back. But MJ, she was waving at her friends behind Peter. What a loser Peter is. The teacher is continuing to talk during all this. Teacher says things like, let's not have a repeat of our field trip to the planetarium. What happened at the planetarium?
I don't know.
We'll have a repeat of that, guys.
Who knows?
He looks younger than some of the students.
Yeah, he does. How does that make any sense?
Give him a tie or something at least. He's even got a tie on.
He's just
So
got
he-
glasses.
He's
He
got
looks so
glasses.
casual.
He's wearing the same stuff as the students.
When I first watched them, yeah, I thought he was a student when I first watched the movie, not the teacher.
So he's like Caillou, just bald early, you know? A Rolls Royce pulls up with Harry and Norman inside.
Charles, can we drive around the corner, please?
Why? The entrance is right there.
Dad, these are public school kids. I'm not showing up in the roles.
What? You want me to trade in my car for a Jetta? Just because you flunked out of every private school I sent you to?
It wasn't for me.
Of course it was. Don't ever be ashamed of who you are.
I'm not ashamed of who I am. It's just...
Just what, Harry?
Forget it.
Harry leaves the car and meets up with Peter. Norman catches up to Harry as he's left his bag in the car. Harry is Peter's only friend because Peter is a loser.
That's a nice touch every time.
I just want to put that in because they want to beat you down as how much of a loser he's supposed to be, but there's nothing losery about him really apart from the fact he's a nerd. But other than that, you know?
It's sad that he always gets bullied.
Yeah, so we've got to really remind people that he's a loser.
Peter, may I introduce you to my father, Norman Osborn?
I've heard so much about you.
Great honor to meet you, sir.
Harry says you're quite the science whiz. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Oh, he said
Nailed
the line!
it.
He said the line! So
I
good.
love it. That's so good.
I read all your research on nanotechnology. Really brilliant.
And you understood it?
Yeah, I wrote a paper on it.
Impressive. Your parents must be very proud.
Ooh.
I live with my aunt and uncle. They are proud.
I had a father. His name was Ben Parker.
Yes. Yes, it was.
A spoiler for later on. Teacher yells out at Peter and Harry to hurry along.
Nice to meet you.
Hope to see you again. Don't worry, Peter. You'll see plenty more of Norman.
He doesn't seem so bad.
Not if you're a genius. I think he wants to adopt you.
Good wee scene, couldn't introduce you to Norman. But what I like about the start of Norman It shows you that he does seem like quite a nice guy.
He does. He does seem like a very nice guy.
Very approachable.
He's someone that Peter would never believe would be the Goblin.
No.
Yeah.
Even if you heard his voice and go, it kind of sounds like him, but I know Norman. He's not that guy.
He is almost like a father figure to him, basically. Yeah.
Well, he tries to be. He tries to be that father figure that he should have been for Harry.
Yeah.
He ignores Harry because Harry's not
Largely neglects him.
Yeah, because he's not what he wants as a kid. He wants a smart kid.
He's got a playboy instead.
Peter's the kid he wished he had, rather than what he actually had.
I think it just makes the scene at the end where it's revealed that the Goblin is Norman all that more powerful. And
Kind of reminds me a bit of like, it could be like the relationship Peter and Kurt Connors had in the Amazing Spider-Man series, you know?
very similar.
Yeah.
It means so much more to Harry when Norman dies, because the scene or so before the ending scene, Harry goes to see Norman, and Norman goes, I'm going to rectify things. I haven't been the best father. And he hugs him, so Harry's like, finally, the first time in my life, I'm going to get that father I always wanted. Then Spider-Man takes it away from him. That makes it more heartbreaking that, he thinks he's finally going to get that, and then Spider-Man took it away from him. The class enters the science exhibit and get information given to them, like there are 32,000 known species of spider in the world.
Wow, that's amazing. This is the most advanced electron microscope on the eastern seaboard. It's unreal.
I like how Harry's just like, wow.
That's so cool.
This is actually like a setup, though, for very shortly. The tour guide gives out more info about spiders, like how some can jump great distances to catch its prey. Peter tries to take photos, but keeps getting bumped by Flash and the gang.
Leave him alone.
Oh, what?
Or his father will fire your father. What's Daddy gonna do? Sue me?
What's going on? The next person who talks will fail this course. I kid you not. Let's go. I'm like, man, that was a pretty big overreaction from a teacher who looks younger than the students. Will fail this entire course for talking in one field trip.
You think what, detention or?
I think maybe they go home.
Yeah.
The next person to talk is going to go home. I'm going to make sure that he has a bus ticket and goes back to school while everyone else gets to have fun. Good luck. And then they can go home and watch the Captain America detention video. So, you got detention. They made some mistakes.
You're probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah. Pretty much. Some spiders change colors to blend into their environment. It's a defense mechanism.
Peter, what makes you think I would want to know that?
Who wouldn't?
Not me.
Harry asks Peter if he's going to talk to MJ, as she is now all alone. But Peter tells Harry that he should talk to her. So, he does. Good one, Peter, you loser.
Disgusting. Yeah, hateful little things. I love them. Yeah, me too. You know, spiders can change their color to blend into their environment. Really? Yeah, it's a defense mechanism. Cool.
It's like, cool. Tour guide says how there are 15 genetically designed super spiders. MJ corrects her by saying there's only 14.
There's only 14.
Tour guide says how the researchers must be working on the other one. But it then cuts to a shot of an escaped spider up high. Harry continues talking to MJ.
Do you know that this is the largest electron microscope on the eastern seaboard?
Teacher intervenes. You were talking throughout the whole woman's entire presentation. Let's go talk about how we listen.
Don't make me look ugly. Just out of nowhere. Where'd that line come from?
Oh, that's later on. Sorry, it's next week. I got up here. I've got Harry and teacher walk off. So what, teacher? You're not going to honour that promise you made about failing the entire course for the next student who talks? Honour your word, teacher. Without your word, you're nothing. Harry should have failed, and then so he shouldn't have graduated at the end of the year.
Yeah. I've been a different movie.
Harry gets sent away. The movie. Peter asks MJ if he can take a photo of her with the spiders for the school paper.
Don't make me look ugly.
That's impossible.
You almost sound creepier there. It's like, that's impossible. Let me take these photos. It's like, why aren't you taking photos of the spiders? You just got a zoomed in shot of me. Yeah. Stand there. It's real good.
I mean, he's loved her for what? Since he was like 5 or 6? Yeah.
Yeah, but stalkers love people for a long time. Doesn't make it right, you know?
You are right, Greg. It is very creepy. Peeping Tom. Well, I mean, peeping Tom anyway, and when he looks at her through his window.
He can look directly through her window, so you know he's like...
Hey there, neighbor.
Lucky he didn't break his leg and look out the window for a whole entire thing and see her and then see a murder.
Oh, yes.
Again, whole different movie.
Rear window.
Peter takes creepy pictures of MJ. There you go. Put on here as well. And not of the spiders at all. When suddenly the spider propels down a web, lands on Peter's hand, and bites him before running off. This version of Peter never kills the spider. Most of them kill him. Like I know Andrew Garfield slaps it.
Yeah.
And in Homecoming, Tom Holland says that the spider's dead. But Peter, in this one, the Tobey Maguire one, let it run off.
He just watches it.
Yeah, which is actually has the same color as the Spider-Man as well.
It's crazy how fake the spider looks now.
Yeah, I know. I
It has
was
not
watching
aged
it,
well.
I'm just like, whoa, that spider close up.
Early
though.
2000s CGI.
Oh, it's so good though. So good. I love it. I can't replace it because if we didn't get that kind of CGI, you wouldn't have got a hero to save us.
I let the credits play out just because of that song.
I'll hold on to the wings of here.
Is that in the script as well?
What do you call improv? I've actually got Macy Gray's, like, some of her lines from later on.
Oh, in the festival? I love that scene.
I've got my Macy Gray voice for it too.
Oh, I can't wait.
A new species image comes up on the computer monitor. Was Peter's blood the final ingredient to that species? Because it wasn't a species until Peter got bitten.
See, and they delve more into that in the Amazing Spider-Man series. And here they just show that as a wee, like, sort of Easter egg, I guess, for the comics.
Yeah, it's directly after he gets bitten.
Yeah, and there's like, I like how no worker there noticed, by the way. New species that's never been seen before in all of time. No one cares.
You think there'd be sensors on the actual cases to stop spiders from escaping?
Yeah, for such a, high budget project, you think, one of our multi-million dollar prospects has just gone loose and it's about this size.
Hey, you guys see the spider that might bite you and have a golf ball sized wound? Anyone? No? All right
Side
then.
effects may include swinging from webs, climbing buildings, and increased parkour skills.
And CGI DNA scenes as well.
And the Peter tingle as well. Don't forget about the Peter tingle.
Peter Tingle. Cut to Oscorp Industries. General Slocum is there to see Norman. You get a first look at the Goblin glider and the Goblin suit, minus the Power Rangers villain looking helmet though. Instead, the pilot has some sort of wrap-over sunglasses similar to Edge and Christian in the WWF Attitude Era days. Like they're very 2000s, they used to have these glasses that wrapped over your head, not around.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're on about.
Edge and Christian used to have those. They used to have big comical hats as well. Slocum is not interested in the glider though. He has already seen that.
I want to see the progress report on human performance enhancers.
Dr. Strom talks about the experiment with rats showed a strength increase of 800%. General asks about any side effects. Strom mentions in one trial there was. Norman tries to change the subject, but Slocum asks Strom about the side effects. The trial showed violence, aggression, and insanity. Just small side effects. Put that on the side of the bottle.
Just on the small print.
May cause insanity. Don't worry, guys. We're fine. We're already insane.
What do you recommend?
That was only one test. With the exception of Dr. Strom, our entire staff certifies the product ready for human testing.
Dr. Strom?
We need to take the whole line back to formula.
Norman looks at Strom and like, I want to kill you with my eyes. Back to formula?
Dr. Osborn, I'm going to be frank with you. I never supported your program. We have my predecessor to thank for that.
Norman, the General has approved Quest Aerospace to build a prototype of their exoskeleton design. They test in 2 weeks.
Page turn. They test.
Yeah, the slight rustle of paper in the background.
And if your so-called performance enhancers have not a successful human trial by that date, I'm going to pull your funding. I'm going to give it to them.
I love that. I'm going to give it to them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I hate you of all beings in my life. So, yeah, let's let you know exactly what the plan's going to be, though, so you can come and foil it for me later on.
I realized my voice went from literally Tobey Maguire down through to the general. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't remember what he
That
sounded
first
like.
line, it went, oh.
Half the battle was remembering what it sounds like,
Yeah.
especially if it's like a
Welcome
few
to voice
scenes.
acting.
The minor scenes are the tricky ones.
You just go over the voice, and if it changes, it's just hilarious when you come back later on and go, huh, we did Jumanji with Alice. She had Sarah and Judy sounding very similar. Like Judy is obviously Kirsten Dunst. Again, another shout out.
Oh
on this.
my god, you are
And
so
Jumanji.
right.
And Bonnie Hunt plays the older Sarah. But she had a very similar voice, so she started to make Sarah sound like a very old lady for no reason. It was great. Meanwhile, at the Parker residence in Queens, and the Lord said, "Let there be light." and voila, there's light. 40 soft, glowing watts of it.
Oh, good boy. God will be thrilled. Just don't fall on your ass.
I'm already on my ass, May. When the plant's senior electrician is laid off after 35 years, what else would you call it? I'm on my ass. The corporations are downsizing and the people upsizing their profits.
Oh, Ben, you'll get another job.
Well, let's have a look in the paper and see. There are the want ads. What do we got here? Computer salesman, computer engineer, computer analyst. My lord, even the computers need analysts these days. May, I'm 68. I'm too old for computers. And besides, I have a family to provide for.
I love you, and Peter loves you. You're the most responsible man I have ever known. And if a man wants to steal your car, let him. As long as you don't get shot and die in Peter's arms. Dun dun dun.
I may have changed the script a little bit.
It makes it all the more funny.
I don't remember that line. Was that much foreshadowing in this movie? I was so confused. You got me with that one. Yeah. We've been down and out before, but somehow we'll survive.
Yeah, so making Uncle Ben sound really slow and long.
Yeah.
Peter enters through the front door.
Hi, sweetie. You're just in time for dinner.
Hey, how you doing, buddy? How was the field trip?
I don't feel well. I'm gonna go to sleep.
You won't have a bite?
No thanks. Had a bite.
Oh, you were talking about because he got bit by a spider.
There's Greg's fun.
Yeah, he has had a bite up, May. Big one is on his arm. You can see when he's walking up the stairs there.
Like a golf ball.
Did you get some pictures, Peter?
I got a crash. Everything's fine.
Just a massive golf ball-sized spider bite. Nothing some sleep won't fix. What's that all about? Peter looks all skinny and pale, like a loser would apparently look. Peter is also sweaty and dizzy from the spider bite. Cue to a wee montage of Peter falling to the ground, grabbing a blanket off his bed, and lying on the ground with a blanket over him, while his complete DNA sequence changes in his body. In other words, just a typical Friday night.
That whole DNA sequence is so cool. I love it.
Yeah, but it's very 2000s.
It shows the style. It shows the age.
Reminds me of X-Men when you see the intro to that. It's going through a DNA sequence. Very similar to this.
Or was it when Cerebro?
Yeah, at the start of it. You'll see Professor X is actually in this as well.
Oh no!
The guy in the wheelchair.
The guy in the wheelchair that's in the boardroom. I called him Professor X in the script. Cause
I was wondering why it said Professor X.
I was like, who is this character?
I don't know. We were doing a crossover.
If there's a white man who's bald in a wheelchair in a Marvel movie, he's Professor X.
His name's Xavier.
Yeah.
Sure.
By this stage, the bite looks really swollen, almost like a big pimple or cyst that I strangely want to burst open.
I have always thought that when I saw that.
Yeah, it's like, I just want to ooze it. Want to get a needle and pop that.
Or just bite it. I would just bite it. And then maybe I'd become Spider-Man.
Yeah. It would be cool to be Spider-Man.
I've been dreaming
Would it
about
though? Would it be good to ruin your life?
Yes, because I would be able to save my loved ones.
Not the whole time, but just temporarily it will be alright.
Part-time, right?
Part-time Spider-Man.
Spider-Man for the weekend. Timeshare.
That sounds a bit dodgy, you know?
Yeah.
Cut back to Oscorp at night. Man, this has been a busy day. Norman is going to test the formula on himself. Dr. Strom is highly against this.
Let me reschedule. With a proper medical staff and a volunteer. Just give me 2 weeks.
2 weeks! In 2 weeks we'll have lost the contract to Quest and Oscorp will be dead. Sometimes you gotta do things yourself. Norman tells Strom to get the necessary substances. It's very hard word to say after 2 words. Necessary substances. I can't say
that's a tongue
substances.
twister, right?
Necessary items required for Norman to start the procedure. Norman takes his shirt off. Whoa, he's actually pretty ripped.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is.
He's skinny ripped.
Even before he goes into the performance
But
enhancers.
the thing is, his shoulders were so broad. I wasn't looking at his face at the movie. I was looking at his body. I was like, damn, Willem.
It's kind of crazy, but his face literally looks like the Goblin as well. He's so perfect. It's kind of scary.
Styled his hair on purpose. For
Oh
that.
yeah.
40,000 years of evolution, and we've barely even tapped the vastness of human potential. Like how he drinks it and then throws it down. It's like, what is he, Thor?
Another!
Norman gets down in the middle slab, and Strom restrains him in. And he's like, oh, it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
I think there's actually a scene that actually when he was lying down, he wasn't supposed to say that,
I think that was improv.
but he improv'd it because it was cold.
Added in, yeah.
Yeah, he's clever. He's a genius.
He is.
They begin the experiment. Fun fact, the green smoke in the scene is actually white, that they changed later with CGI. They tried to use green smoke, but everyone they tried was toxic. Apparently they didn't want to kill Willem Dafoe.
I'm glad they didn't.
Norman starts having violent seizures due to the smoke. That flatlines Norman. Strom, upset, tries to revive Norman in a very extremely sloppy way. He's like slapping him.
But he only does like 6 chest compressions. Normally you're in like ER doing that for hours. And he's suddenly back.
Well, I don't think it actually worked because he wasn't even doing it right.
I think it was just the serum.
I think the serum is
Just brought him back.
Yeah. Then, suddenly, Norman's eyes open and he grabs Strom by the throat. Back to formula. Norman throws Strom into a bunch of electrical equipment and leaps out of the chamber like a wild gorilla. Or perhaps, maybe, a goblin.
That scene, the way Willem like becomes the Goblin, like not just in Spider-Man obviously, but like his physicality, his body language, like when he's like just crouched and he goes and he's like snarling and he leaps.
It's terrifying.
It's so good. I love it.
A top-notch performance, Willem Dafoe.
He didn't need the mask, and that's what a lot of people say is, why give the mask to someone who doesn't need it? Like in wrestling terms, it's like giving a manager to someone who can speak on the microphone. Why would you do that?
No.
Cut to Peter waking up the next morning. Peter puts his glasses on, but finds out that it's blurry when he puts them on, but clear when he doesn't. Peter's vision has corrected itself.
Weird.
Peter then notices by looking in the mirror that he is no longer a skinny loser, but is in fact ripped, shredded, and in very good shape. Aunt May knocks.
Peter. Or should I say, Peter? Sorry, I can't.
Yeah,
Are you alright?
I'm fine.
Any better this morning? Any change?
Change? Yep. Big change.
When he says this last line, he looks straight down. Maybe the spider bite has also enhanced his penis, Parker. Shout out to the movie Spider-Man Homecoming.
Sorry, I read that ahead while you were still speaking. It killed me. Penis Parker. Well, hurry up. You're going to be late.
Right.
Peter says MJ in her room directly across from his.
Hey, neighbor.
I might be a few more extra minutes, Aunt May.
Penis Parker's come to play.
So that's why you wrote that in there.
Not my fault, it's a spider biter, right? Peter then runs downstairs and does some parkour on the bottom corner wall, making Uncle Ben almost choke on his coffee. Peter had almost killed his Uncle Ben by doing parkour. Jesus, I thought you were sick.
I got better. Bye, guys.
My gosh.
Okay.
That was so not in character.
Never to be seen again. Bye, guys. Have you got your lunch money?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, Michelangelo, don't forget, we're painting the kitchen right after school. Got it?
Sure thing,
Sure thing, Kung Fu Ben.
Oh, Kunkel.
Sure thing, Uncle Ben. Don't start without me.
And don't start up with me. Teenagers. Raging hormones. They never change. Peter leaves his house and sees MJ leaving, while her dad full-on verbally abuses her. Why Spider-Man never kicks his ass is beyond me.
Agreed.
Beat him up. He's so horrible.
He definitely looked the part of deadbeat dad, alcoholic.
Oh, 100%.
Like singlet white, pot belly, probably a stain or two on there as well.
Complete white trash.
Yeah. You're basic white trash.
He just mistreats her so bad.
He does, yeah.
Like you're waiting for him maybe at the end to come back and like beat him up. But he doesn't.
He needs the Spider-Man beaten.
He does. Or a Superman 2 beating. I'm not sure if you've seen the Christopher Reeve Superman 2 where for a while, he gives up his powers for Lois. So he goes into a bar and this bully beats him up. Later on, when he gets his powers back, he goes back into that bar and the guy punches him, and obviously he's Superman now. Breaks his hand, he picks him up, puts him on the counter, and throws him into a pinball machine, and he gives the money to the barman, and there he goes, "Oh, here's for the damages, I'm so sorry." And then the guy looks at him like, "Huh?" He goes, "Oh," and he lifts his arms up and goes, "I've been working out." That's what you needed in this, you know?
Yeah, Sam Raimi needed to include that, surely.
Get Dick Donner on the phone, tell me how I did it. Peter starts walking behind MJ to the bus stop, trying to build up the courage to ask MJ out. MJ gets picked up by her friends in the convertible. Peter, distracted by this, doesn't see the bus until it flies by him.
Oh, this was when he was just like mumbling to himself. He's like, "Hey MJ, oh yeah, I'm pretty good." It's like, "Or we could not. You could just jump in the car with your friends. That's cool too."
And I'll just keep looking and miss the bus.
Stop the bus.
Peter starts the whole "stop the bus" routine again, but stops when his hand gets stuck to the "Go Wildcat" sign. Not knowing what is going on, he stops, which causes the sign to tear and remains stuck to his hand.
There was something I really liked about that scene. So he grabbed it, I think it was with his left hand, he was tapping the bus. He pulls it off, and then he's pulling with his other hand, and it tears like sticky tape, you know, when you take it off your finger. But when he drops it with the other hand, it doesn't stick. So they did some nice little placement with either some glue or some that was half tape, half not. But yeah, wee details. Sorry.
Impressive.
It's cool when they go practical. I guess those days they didn't have a choice, but it's still cool to see. Cut to Norman Osborn in his mansion. Oh, look at this fancy guy. Harry finds Norman on the floor of his office. Is it an office or his bedroom? Because when he gets in, at the end, he puts him down. It looks like a bed, but it looks like a couch as well.
More looked like a study or like a therapist study, you know? Like, tell me about your day.
Not a bedroom, though. I think more an office.
No, yeah.
Norman has flashes of the experiment the night before while talking to Harry, but says he doesn't remember. One of Norman's assistants walks in telling him that Dr. Strom is dead. They found his body in the lab. He's been murdered.
I can't believe you killed me.
And the flight suit and glider have been stolen. Dum dum dum. Next time on Spider-Man. Cut back to Peter eating lunch in the school cafeteria. MJ is walking past him with her tray of lunch when she slips in some liquid. I don't know if liquid is. It looks like Coke or...
I think it was orange juice.
It's real dark to be orange juice. It looks real like almost like an apple juice, maybe.
Really? We'll find
I
out.
always thought it was coffee.
If anyone knows what liquid she tripped on, let us know. She tripped on liquid, sorry, slipped on. Let us know by going to... I tripped on some liquid.
Just go back and listen to the intro again. You got all the socials there for you.
There you go. Nobody at Bennett at outlook.com. This triggers Peter's spidey sense for the first time, or as Peter Tingle, as he gets known in Tom Holland. And he catches MJ, as well as catching all her food and drink on the food tray. Do you guys know that they did that for real?
Really?
As a practical effect, they actually had all the stuff that could stick on the tray. And it actually took about 50 takes for Peter to actually do that.
Wow. Impressive.
Impressive. Impressive.
Had to add that in there.
That's so good. Nice. It was great.
Very well done.
Wow. Great reflexes. Thanks.
No problem.
Hey, you have blue eyes. I didn't notice without your glasses. You just get contacts?
Peter just gives her a dopey puppy dog smile.
Well, see ya.
I think he's kind of... I thought he was just going to start drawing.
Yeah, a bit of drool comes down. The pretty girl.
Oh my God. Peter then notices that a fork is stuck to his hand. He goes to pull it off to find a web is attached to it from his wrist. Then another web shoots off and sticks to a food tray across from him. Peter yanks the web, hoping to free himself. Instead, he flings the tray behind him and hits Flash Thompson with all the food. If Flash wasn't there, though, Peter would have flung that tray directly into MJ's face.
Straight into MJ.
As she was sitting on the other side of the table.
That would have ruined his chances for sure.
Nah, he just has to spit on the mask. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Like a bottle in the face or something and a bowl.
The knife just flies straight into her eye.
Broken nose, surely.
Like a Final Destination death, maybe. Fork in the eye.
Laser eye surgery.
Peter runs out of the cafeteria, still attached to the web and tray.
Parker?
I do like how the tray gets caught in the door. It's like,
Yeah, I love it.
Let's get caught for a second here.
Poor Peter. It makes it sort of obvious that it's him.
And everyone is looking.
Yeah. But no one sees him actually web the thing.
Yeah, which is
He
the
looks
weird
around,
thing.
he's like, all right, no one sees it.
And he webs the tray literally next to someone who's eating.
Who just leaves a tray of food just sitting there? Like, it's full food.
It is full.
Yeah, it's a waste.
Absolute waste. Peter's spidey sense is going off all around him, including sensing a paper dart in the air, a fly buzzing around, a kid shooting a spitball, which is always gross, and Flash Thompson's fist coming right at him.
Think you're pretty funny, don't you, freak? Flash, it was just an accident. My fist breaking your teeth, that's the accident. Come on, Flash, stop.
I don't want to fight you, Flash.
I wouldn't want to fight me either.
that scene, so good.
So good. I wouldn't want to fight me neither.
Big meathead, eh?
He's the real villain, surely.
I see, I don't know if much people know this, but Flash Thompson in the comics is actually Agent Venom. If nobody knew that.
He does later on. He
gets
becomes
Venom
yeah.
symbiote.
He's a good guy. He becomes a good guy.
For all you fake fans out there. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Flash goes to punch Peter, but he just dodges out of the way. Flash swings again, but Peter yet again dodges. You see how Peter sees it. Time slows right down, giving Peter plenty of time to dodge. Flash tries a big haymaker, but Peter just Matrix limbos out of the way.
Help him, Harry.
Douche Friends tries to attack Peter from behind, but the sound of Peter's spidey sense goes off and Peter flips out of the way.
Which one?
Douche Friend looks shocked and talks to Flash. He's all yours, man. What a douche that guy is, eh?
What a douche.
Coward.
Flash just comes at Peter with a barrage of shots, but Peter eventually grabs Flash by the forearm and punches him in the gut, sending Flash flying down the corridor and into a teacher. Not the same teacher as before, like, what's going on, guys? Talking. Let's go talk about how we listen. Who drops his plate of food into Flash.
That was such a slow drop, by the way. He went, oh, in the movie. Whoops. My bad.
I couldn't control myself.
He's like, that's for that spitball.
Yeah. Peter looks happy and proud for what he has just done. Everyone else, except for Harry, looks scared and worried. Me? I'm pleased with Peter here. He overcame a bully in a mostly non-violent way. Peter could have hurt Flash badly if he wanted to, but he chose not to. I don't know why he's considered a freak for showing some mad self-defense moves.
I do agree with that. That was if I was in the crowd, I'd be like, I want to be friends with that guy.
He's cool. He's got some cool tricks.
He threw one punch in the whole entire fight. Flash Thompson threw a barrage.
Yeah.
And he's the freak.
It was like, grab.
And here comes douchey friend again. Jesus, Parker, you are a freak.
Peter, that was amazing.
Peter runs off, leaving everyone stunned behind. Peter runs away to an empty alleyway. Alleyway? Alleyway. Peter runs way. Peter runs away to an empty alleyway. Peter looks at his wrist and then his spider bite and starts to piece together what is happening when he looks at the spider up in the web. Peter notices the microscopic spikes or barbs in his fingers. They look vicious up close.
They were so cool.
Oh. Peter starts to climb the wall. As he starts, you can hear Danny Elfman's score reacting to every time he plants his hand on the wall. Me and Keelin were talking about that before we actually recorded.
Before we recorded. It's probably my favorite music scene.
A great scene. Yeah.
Donk, 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 and then all kind of, and the music starts kicking in as he's walking out more.
The fact that it's in sync is just so cool.
It's those little details that just make a movie, you know.
100%.
Really good. Peter lets out an excited yowl and starts jumping from building to building. Peter then comes to a point where it is too big to jump, so he tries to use his web, but can't figure out how it works.
Go, web. Fly. Up and away, web. Shazam. Go. Go. Go, web, go.
Peter finally figures out the right hand gesture to release the web fluid and attaches himself to a nearby crane.
Tally ho.
Like that, Sally ho!
And then all of a sudden, I like how he says Shazam in that little thing. Like all of a sudden, I expect like Billy Bates. Shazam!
That's it. And up and away is the Superman.
Yeah.
He used to go up and away. So there's a lot of DC references in this movie. It's before DC cared, I guess. Peter swings across. Once he gets to the other side, he realizes that he doesn't know how to stop and starts to panic before smacking into a wall.
Ouch.
Peter returns home. It's now dark outside. He sees all the paint tools in the kitchen, the thing he was meant to do after school. There is a note left for him saying that his dinner is in the oven. Hey, Michelangelo, meatloaf's in the oven. Peter can hear MJ's family yelling again. Peter puts out the trash while MJ comes storming out her back door. I decided to skip doing the scene as it's pretty boring.
I thought it was cute.
It's cute, but it's kind of like, compared to all the other scenes, it's kind of boring.
True, they are just standing there.
You want the fun scenes.
Exactly, you want to kill the fun scenes. So Peter and MJ talk about how the school was freaked out about what Peter did to Flash. What, that one punch? Teacher did more damage,
Yeah.
which wasn't much at all, really. I've seen the movie Dangerous Minds. I know what an American school is really about. Flash is just thankful that Peter didn't give him a black eye for graduation. MJ tells Peter that after graduation, she's going to move to the city. Peter creepily mentions how he loved her in the first grade school play. Peter says that MJ is going to light up Broadway someday. Peter, that was first grade. Even still, I could see you from your window. I live right across from you. Yeah, that window? Peter says how he wants to move into the city and get a job as a photographer and work his way through college.
I think it's also fair to say that Peter knows how to flirt with Mary Jane. Like,
Does he, though?
not really.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're joking.
It's sarcasm.
I can tell.
He doesn't need to. She's been with such douche, big, like, typical, big men, and then he just needs to be a nerd and weird and awkward, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm into this.
And you know why? Because sometimes you can just tell things about people.
The references in this is going to be nuts.
The conversation has ended when Flash shows up to pick up MJ in his brand new sports car. Hey, what's the liver?
Come check out my new birthday present.
Cut to Peter looking at the newspaper listing for cars. Seems he can get a decent car for about $3,000. Coincidentally, Peter notices an ad. Need cash? Amateur wrestlers, $3,000 for 3 minutes in the ring. Colourful characters a must. Peter starts to dream of driving MJ around, then starts to draw some costume ideas, eventually designing the classic Spider-Man costume, which of course is not what he ends up wearing at the wrestling event. There is an electric guitar version of Elfman's Spider-Man theme during the montage. Yeah. Love it.
Nice variation.
Yeah, it is. Cut to the morning where Peter is practicing his web shooting skills. Aunt May knocks on the door and tries to come in, but Peter stops her as there are webs everywhere.
I'm exercising. I'm not dressed, Aunt May.
Well, you're acting so strangely, Peter.
Okay, thanks.
Do you guys know that Sam Raimi was originally going to have Peter using web shooters,
Really?
but changed his mind? In this scene with Peter practicing his web shooting skills, Toby is actually wearing bands around his wrists. Were edited out when Raimi decided not to go with them. Raimi's reasoning was that no 17 or 18-year-old could have the time, money, or resources to develop web shooters, so changed them to just be part of his powers.
Introducing Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, he's like, I got time. I got money from somewhere.
That's Peter's thing, though. He's like gorilla smart. He'll go into a dumpster and make Hydron Collider or something like
He's
that.
highly creative in what he does.
Because Raimi's a huge Spider-Man fan as well, so he would have known all that stuff. But things
I like his own twist.
I do like how it's just a part of him, because some comics obviously have it with just him as his powers as well. Cut to Osborn Mansion, where Norman is reading the paper. Oscorp may lose contract to Quest. Norman opens up the paper to another part. Is this the end of Norman Osborn? Stock plummets as stability is questioned. What stability? What happened that stability? Was it the murder from Strum? Was that why it's stability? I don't know.
I don't know. I swear it's only been a couple days.
Is the military giving all the press all the information that they shouldn't be because it's a military contract?
That caused the big drop, surely.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's really weird. Laughter starts echoing through the mansion.
Oh my god.
Cut back to the Parker residence. Uncle Ben talks to Aunt May about how something is bothering Peter, and he may be too embarrassed to tell him. Peter comes in saying how he's going to the downtown library. Uncle Ben says he'll take him. Peter says how he'll just take the train, but Uncle Ben insists. Cut to Peter,
Murder.
and Uncle Ben pulling up to a sidewalk in the city.
Thanks for the ride, Uncle Ben.
Now, wait a minute. We need to talk.
We can talk later.
Well, we can talk now if you'll let me.
What do we have to talk about? Why now?
Because we haven't talked at all for so long. May and I don't even know who you are anymore. You shirk your chores. You have all those weird experiments in your room. You start fights at school.
I didn't start that fight. I told you
Well,
that.
you sure as hell finished it.
What was I supposed to do? Run away?
No, you're not supposed to run away, but... Pete, look, you're changing. I went through exactly the same thing at your age.
No, not exactly.
Like that. Not exactly. Peter, these are the years when a man changes into the man he's gonna become the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into. This guy, Flash Thompson, he probably deserved what happened, what the one punch. Yeah, he did. But just because you can beat him up doesn't give you the right to. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, there's that line.
Remember my words, Pete. Remember them. Just later on.
Are you afraid I'll become some kind of criminal? Quit worrying about me, okay? Something's different. I'll figure it out. Stop lecturing me, please.
I don't mean to lecture or preach, and I know I'm not your father.
Then stop pretending to be.
You can see this visibly hurts Uncle Ben, as it should. It was a dick of a thing for Peter to say. That man took you in, Peter. He has no job and is struggling to pay the bills while you're smashing lamps, not painting kitchens.
And he's trying to be the father figure, give him words of wisdom, and throws it back in his face.
Exactly. Take a good, hard look at yourself, Peter. I mean, jeez. So up right there. Right. I'll pick you up here at 10. Peter leaves the car. You get that feeling that Peter wants to do the right thing and apologize to Uncle Ben, but doesn't do it. It's going to eat away at him the rest of his life. Because he says, the last things I ever said to him, I told him that he wasn't my father. As Peter gets out, you can hear a dark undertone of the Spider-Man theme, as this choice does help tragically lead to Spider-Man's origin. Peter arrives at the venue where the wrestling event is taking place. Peter watches Bonesaw McGraw dismantle a man in the ring with his powerful wrestling moons. His powerful wrestling moves, including a Macho Man elbow drop from the top turnbuckle. Ooh, yeah!
For $3,000, is there no one here man enough to stay in the ring for 3 minutes with this titan of testosterone? Who? I know who. The Flying Dutchman.
I love Bruce Campbell in this, so good.
Such a little role, but owns it.
So good. Peter gets in line to sign up. There's no featherweight division here, small fry. Next.
No, sign me up.
Okay. You understand the NYWL is not responsible for any injury you may or probably will sustain in said event, and you're indeed participating under your own free will?
Yes.
Down the hall into the ramp. May God be with you. Next.
Next.
Bonesaw beats the Flying Dutchman by throwing him through a table.
Are you ready for more?
Bonesaw is ready.
That's good.
It was amazing.
So good.
Will the next victim please enter the arena at this time? If he can withstand just 3 minutes in the cage with Bonesaw McGraw, the sum of $3,000 will be paid to...
What's your name, kid?
The Human Spider. The Human Spider? That's it? That's the best you got? Yeah? Ah, that sucks. The sum of $3,000 will be paid to the terrifying, the deadly, the amazing Spider-Man.
I love how it reveals Spider-Man.
My name's the Human Spider.
I don't care. Get out there.
No, he got my name wrong.
Just get out there, you moron.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is greeted by boos from the crowd and some ladies who say how badly they're going to beat him. So, all right. He even gets food thrown at him. I'm going to chew you up and spit you out, little man. It's like, what are you going to do?
Kinky.
Right, the Flying Dutchman gets wheeled past saying, oh God, my legs. I can't feel my legs. The cage starts to come down, but Peter didn't sign up for a cage match.
Hey, freak show! You're going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
Spider-Man jumps up into the top corner of the cage.
What are you doing up there?
Staying away from you. That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
Witty insults from Peter Parker.
It's jokes that haven't aged well.
I know. You're being so homophobic.
I know.
Spider-Man dances around Bonesaw until Bonesaw is given a chair. That he starts hitting Spider-Man with. Bonesaw then starts to slam Spidey into the steel cage. Bonesaw then gets a crowbar and approaches Spider-Man, but Spider-Man uses his feet to fight off Bonesaw. Spider-Man then flips Bonesaw over into the cage, which keeps Bonesaw down.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the new champion, Spider-Man.
Cut to Peter out the back with the wrestling show promoter. The promoter has a huge amount of cash, but only puts down $100.
Now get out of here. $100? The ad said 3,000. Well, check it again, webhead. It said $3,000 for 3 minutes, and you pinned him in 2. For that, I give you 100, and you're lucky to get that. I need that money. I missed the part where that's my problem.
As Peter is leaving, another man walks in with a gun and robs the promoter. The robber's name is Dennis Carradine. You don't find this out in the first movie, though. You find it out in Spider-Man 3. When it has that black and white scene with Sandman shooting down
Yes.
Uncle Ben before Peter can get there. Dennis runs out the door towards Peter. The promoter and a security guard yell out at Peter to stop him. Instead, Peter steps aside and lets Dennis escape into the elevator.
Thanks.
Thanks! The security guard yells at Peter for just letting them go. Then the promoter talks to Peter.
You could have taken that guy apart. Now he's gonna get away with my money. I missed the part where that's my problem.
I was waiting for that.
You're sort of giving me like the Godfather vibes with the promoter, you know.
That's my money.
One of my favorite movies, so.
Peter looks smug as the promoter walks away. Now, Peter, let's see how this is going to be your problem, shall we? Peter is walking along the street, waiting for Uncle Ben, when he hears a police siren go by, and a group of people huddled around something. Peter looks through the crowd, then starts to push his way through.
That's my uncle. What happened?
Carjacker. He's been shot. We just called the paramedics. They're on their way.
Uncle Ben? Uncle Ben?
Uncle Ben opens his eyes, looking around for the source of the voice.
Uncle Ben?
Uncle Ben smiles, but is slowly dying because of Peter. Peter!
I'm here, Uncle Ben.
Peter takes Uncle Ben's hand. Peter! Then Uncle Ben closes his eyes and dies.
Something we shouldn't be laughing at.
Yeah, but it's just hilarious, though.
It's because of the memes.
Peter.
He does such a good job that it's just so hilarious now.
2 lines and it makes me cry for 2 hours.
Also, Peter's face is just the tears bulling down his eyes,
They call it an ugly cry
Yeah,
face.
he has an ugly cry face. He really does. And I'm like,
which
ugh.
makes it even funnier.
Did you miss the part where that's your fault, Peter? Don't worry, you'll find out. You can hear a quiet version of the Spider-Man theme here, just letting you know that this is an important Spider-Man moment. Just a slow when Uncle Ben dies, because, again, every moment which leads to him becoming Spider-Man, they actually put the theme through.
Ah, yeah, it's like a big turning moment.
Yeah, like when he has the argument with Uncle Ben in the car, as he gets out, you hear that theme. It's almost like if you played Until Dawn.
Yes.
It had a butterfly effect every time you made a decision that led to something. This is like that, but with music. Yes. Very good game too,
Yeah, it's a very good game.
Love that. Hayden Panettiere from our old Heroes.
Yes.
Yeah. She was in Nashville for a while.
Yeah, she was in Nashville. Yeah. And then it had, I can't remember their name, the guy who played Josh, though. He was Marcus in Detroit Become Human.
He was, yes. You could hear a male police officer talking to another one behind Peter. They got the shooter. He's headed out on 5th Avenue. We've got 3 cars in pursuit. Peter has a look of vengeance in his eyes. Peter goes into an alleyway and puts his red balaclava back on. Spider-Man then chases after Uncle Ben's killer. The next sequence is a mixed bag of dated CGI and some cool web swinging action. Web swinging action. I think I said swimming. Web swimming action.
That's the first scene he actually got a handle on his webs, didn't he?
It kind of was. He's still swinging, like kind of freaking out a bit.
Because he was about to go and then he went, oh, and then he changed.
Yeah.
So
he started to figure it out because he had to, I guess. And some cool web swinging action. Uncle Ben's car is actually a car Sam Raimi owns. He puts it in most of his movies. So if you watch most of Sam Raimi's movies, that kind of cream kind of car that Uncle Ben drives, it's actually his car that he just puts in like most movies.
I think it's in Evil Dead as well, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
The Gift, there's a movie called The Gift in 2000. I believe he does it in that as well.
Interesting fact.
Useless facts you'll never want to know.
but no, anyway.
Spider-Man forces the killer's car into an abandoned warehouse. Spider-Man beats him up by throwing him through glass windows. The killer tries to attack with a knife, but Spider-Man disarms him with a cool backflip kick.
Don't hurt me. Just give me a chance. Just give me a chance.
What about my uncle? Did you give him a chance? Did you? Answer me!
Peter holds the killer up into the light. He then sees who it is. It's Dennis, the guy he let go in the elevator. And there's an echo of, "Stop that man!" from the security guard. Thanks.
Thanks.
Stunned by this, Peter stops. So Dennis pulls out a gun on him.
See ya.
Peter quickly pulls the gun away. Dennis then trips on a pipe and falls back out the window to the ground below. Dennis is dead. The cops shine a light on Peter and tell him to freeze. We've got the place completely surrounded. By the time the police enter the abandoned warehouse, though, Peter is gone. Peter reflects and cries on top of the Chrysler building. This is a spoiler for No Way Home. He says that to Tom Holland Everyone has a place. He says the Chrysler building. If you haven't seen No Way Home, you avoided the spoilers until this moment, I'm sorry, but also you should have seen it by now. Peter reflects and cries on top of the Chrysler building. Ugly cry though. Alligator tears. Peter then returns home and tells Aunt May about Uncle Ben, but nothing about how it was his fault. Yet.
Yeah, all he said in that scene, there's no audio in that scene but the music.
There is audio of Aunt May. You can hear her crying.
Oh, you can hear her crying, that's true.
Gut-wrenching.
You can see Peter's lips moving and all he says is Uncle Ben is dead.
And you can just hear Aunt May go, oh.
Hands flying all over him.
Yeah. It's gut-wrenching.
It is. It was a hard scene.
It is.
Again, the theme kicks in again. The theme bit music when you sing it. Cut to Quest Aerospace testing their exosuit prototype for General Slocum. General says that if it does what they say it will, he'll sign the contract tomorrow. Nothing will please the General more than putting Norman Osborn out of business. As the test begins, you start to see fear in the pilot's eyes as something flying some sort of glider comes flying in, blowing up the pilot and the exosuit. The flying thing also blows up the bunker that General and the associates were in. You see the face of the General Slocum say, oh my god, I'm angry about this. All we can hear is an evil laugh and yells in terror. Cut to the daytime, where Peter and the gang are graduating high school. Good to see Flash Thompson finally graduating at what looks to be at least 30.
Finally had a career.
He finally
Not getting held back for so long.
doesn't need to shave every day anymore.
My darling, I'm so proud of you. You looked so handsome up there. Pete, good news. Dad got the place in New York, so we're all set this fall.
Oh, that's great.
You made it. It's not the first time I've been proven wrong. Congratulations.
Thanks, Dad.
Peter, the Science Award. That's terrific.
Yeah?
Yeah, what about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you get one? No.
You're not as smart as me.
I know this has been a difficult time for you, but I want you to try and enjoy this day. Commencement. The end of one thing, the start of something new. As Norman is talking to Peter, you can see Harry behind Norman. He's obviously jealous of his dad's affections towards Peter, so he leaves. As Harry walks away, he notices Flash and MJ breaking up. Flash's response is like, whatever, you're lost.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
You're like a brother to Harry. That makes you family. And if you ever need anything, just give me a call. Cut back to Aunt May and Peter returning home. Aunt May offers to fix some food for Peter, but he just wants to go to his room instead. Later in the evening, Peter is sitting on his bed crying. Aunt May sees this and goes into his room.
I missed him a lot today.
I know. I miss him too. But he was there.
I can't help thinking about the last thing I said to him. He tried to tell me something important, and I just threw it in his face.
You loved him, and he loved you. You never doubted the man you'd grown into.
Well, actually, Aunt May, Uncle Ben did tell Peter to be careful who he grew into, so there was a little doubt there. Actually, word for word, be careful who you grow into.
Yeah. Literally.
How you were meant for great things, you won't disappoint him. You're the man of the house now. Get undressed. Aunt May needs her lovin'. Oh, Peter!
So appropriate.
Peter.
Oh, that was great. Had
I love the next line as well. With great power.
Peter pulls out his human spider wrestling shirt and his classic Spider-Man outfit drawing. With great power comes great responsibility. Remember that, Pete. Remember that.
I sort of like this scene where he's getting the new suit ready, because like the old suit with his wrestling suit, it sort of symbolizes an irresponsible Pete as Spider-Man. But now that he's grown into what he wants to be and what Ben thought he could be, now he's in the proper suit, ready to do his thing.
It's almost like he's sort of doing it for Ben.
Well, he is now, yeah. Uncle Ben's death is a part of Spider-Man.
It's what pretty much made Spider-Man. There's probably so many comic lines out there that would be like, oh, what if Ben Parker never existed or was in Peter's life? No Spider-Man.
Uncle Ben didn't die, he'd still be wrestling for money, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Because he was using his powers to make money, which he doesn't do that ever again.
I mean, I think he remembers the great quote with power, with great power comes great
Not the one from
responsibility.
Amazing Spider-Man, where Peter, with great responsibility, is always comes to a power. And it's like, what are you trying to say, Uncle Ben, otherwise known as President from West Wing?
I've read it in some comic somewhere.
He just like beats around the bush with it a bit too much. Cue montage. A convenience shop owner is being robbed at gunpoint, but Spider-Man, now in classic costume, apprehends the robbers outside and gives the money back to the store owner.
He's not a man. My brother saw him building a nest in the Lincoln Center fountain.
I was going to say, if it says Indian citizen, if you don't want to have an accent, it's fine.
Nah, I was like, I wonder.
He went fully for it.
I think he's human. A man. Could be a woman.
Cops appear at night to a jewelry shop break-in. When the cops arrive, they find the would-be thieves stuck in a giant spider web. He throws up his hands, ropes come out, and he climbs up them like a spider web.
I see the web, his signature, and I know Spider-Man was here.
Hey, the guy protects us, you know? He protects the people.
He's some kind of freakaloo or something, a wackadoo.
He stinks, and I don't like him.
That was a little teaser for a character to come in later.
Cut to a lady being held up in an alley. Spider-Man takes out the attacker and leaves a note in the lady's purse. Courtesy, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I got Xena here because it's Lucy Lawless from Xena. It's her cameo.
Warrior Princess.
Sam Raimi was a producer on Hercules' Legendary Journeys and Xena.
Really? I
So
didn't know
that's
that.
how she knows him. Yeah.
Ah, little cameo.
Guy with that hands. Sounds hot.
He has those tats and that tight little...
Dresses like a spider, he looks like a bug. But we should all just give him one big hug. 'Cause look at, whoa, here comes the Spider-Man.
That's a banger.
He looks like Chad Kroger.
He does. He does.
Chad Kroger.
Yeah, but he hasn't got a hero to save him. Not gonna stand here and wait.
Could you imagine that's what he was singing instead of that?
If he was busking, people would be taking their money back because it's Nickelback.
Oh, that was great.
Cut to a man reading a copy of the Daily Bugle. Here you go, Tenson, your big moment.
Who is Spider-Man? He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante. A public menace. Why is he on the front page?
There's a page 6 problem?
We have a page 1 problem. Shut up.
He's news.
The clients, they can't wait.
They're about to.
He pulled 6 people off a subway.
From a wreck he probably caused. Something goes wrong and this creepy crawler is there. Look at that. He's fleeing the scene. What's that tell you?
He's not fleeing. He's probably going to save somebody else. He's a hero.
Then why does he wear a mask? What's he got to hide?
Mr.
Sorry, I just saw the typo.
Mr. Jameson. Mr. Jameson, it's like this. We're double booked page 6, so Macy and Conway's both had 3/4.
We sold out 4 printings.
Sold out.
Every copy.
Tomorrow, Spider-Man, page 1, with a decent picture this time. Move Conway to page 7.
That's a problem with page 7.
Page 8. And give him 10% off. Make it 5%.
That can't be done.
Get out of here.
We don't have a decent picture. Eddie's been on it for weeks, but we can barely see him. Eddie, is that Eddie Brock?
Must be.
That's Eddie, so
Yeah, it must be.
Because Eddie was still working for the Bugle in the third one, so
He
he was
was.
freelance the whole time, I think, yeah.
yeah, just under the surface.
Aw, what is he, shy? If we can get a picture of Julia Roberts in a thong, we can get a picture of this weirdo. Put an ad out on the front page. Cast for a picture of Spider-Man. He doesn't want to be famous? Then I'll make him infamous.
Is that exhausting?
Yeah.
Drink some Powerade, mate. Get it down, yeah.
Oh,
Drink some Powerade, not sponsor of Nobody Does It Venom.
Powerade, please sponsor.
MJ finishes her shift as a waitress at the Moonshine Diner when she runs into Peter.
Hey,
Buzz off.
MJ, it's me, Peter.
Hi!
Huh, hey.
What are you doing around here?
Begging for a job? How about you?
Oh, I'm headed to an audition.
An audition. See, you're acting now.
Yeah, I work steady. In fact, I just got off a job.
That's great, MJ. You're doing it. You're living your dream.
The conversation carries on a bit about Peter finding out that she's a waitress and not to tell Harry. And it's also got, I just didn't want to put another name in there for another voice thing, so, you know, Enrique.
Yeah,
Hey, Miss Watson, I'm talking to you.
Okay, Ricky.
don't tell Harry.
Aren't you guys living together? We're going out. Didn't he tell you?
Oh, yeah, right.
I think he'd hate the idea of me waiting tables. He'd think it was low or something.
It's not low. You have a job. You know,
Harry doesn't live in a little place I like to call Earth.
No, I guess not.
A few moments of awkward smiling silence.
Thanks, Pete. We should catch up sometime.
Let's get some lunch some evening. Well, I'll come by and have some of your Moondance coffee someday. And I won't tell Harry.
No, don't tell Harry.
I won't tell Harry.
Cut to Peter arriving to his apartment that he shares with Harry in the city.
Storming Norman making his weekly inspection? Spent half of it on the phone? Look, man, I'm glad you're here. I need your help. I'm really lost here. Are you alright? You look like you just got second place in the science fair.
Whoa, Tosh.
Da-da-da.
No, I was late for work and Dr. Connors fired me.
You were late again? I don't get it. Where do you go all the time?
Around.
Norman finishes on his phone. Peter Parker! Maybe you'll tell me who she is.
Who's that?
This mystery girl Harry's been dating.
Dad.
When do I get to meet her?
Dad.
Well, sorry, Harry hasn't mentioned her.
Hey, Pete. You're probably looking for a job now, right? Dad, maybe you can help him out.
No, I appreciate it, but I'll be fine.
It's no problem. I'll make a few calls.
No, I couldn't accept it, sir. I like to earn what I get. I can find work.
I respect that. You want to make it on your own steam. That's great.
Unlike some, Harry.
Peter is pouring a cup of juice, not a cup of haters, when he notices cup of haters there. When he notices the Bugle front page, reward for photos of Spider-Man. What other skills do you have, Parker?
I was thinking of something in photography.
Not pornography. At first, it changed it to pornography for some reason.
That's
I
bizarre.
hate to Microsoft word it. I was thinking of something in pornography. Tell you what, Pam and Tommy at the moment on Disney Plus, pretty good.
Apparently, it's pretty raunchy.
Pretty raunchy, yeah. Cut to an armoured truck being held up at night. Spider-Man busts up the thieves, while also having a camera around to take photos of him in action. Peter is showing off his photos of Spider-Man to JJ. They are top quality shots, but Jameson, being a sly newspaper veteran, tries to lowball Peter.
They're crap. Mega crap. I'll give you $200 for all of them. That seems a little low. Take them somewhere else then.
JJ hands the photos back to Peter and answers the phone. Sir, your wife says the tile you ordered for the foyer is out of stock.
Tell her we'll just put a rug there.
Peter is getting up to leave.
Sit down. Give me that. I'll give you $300. This is standard freelance fee.
JJ hands the photos off to Robbie.
Tear up page 1. Run that photo instead.
Headline.
Spider-Man, hero or menace? Exclusive Daily Bugle photos. Menace? He was protecting that armored car. Tell you what, Atticus. You take the pictures and I'll make up the headlines, okay? All right? Yes, sir. Goody. Give this to the girl up front. She'll see you get paid. I'd like a job, sir. No jobs. Freelance. Best thing in the world for a kid your age.
What, like 28?
You bring me more shots of that newspaper selling clown, maybe I'll take them off your hands. But I never said you had a job. Meat, I'll send you a nice box of Christmas meat. Best I could do. Now get out of here. Bring me more photos.
I like that. You want a job? No, I can give you meat. Nice big box of Christmas meat.
I didn't realize that's what he said until now.
Peter meets Betty and gives her the freelance check. Welcome to the Daily Bugle.
Thank you. I'm Peter Parker. I'm a photographer.
Yes, I can see that. It's like I'm looking at this camera.
She turns around like, I'm somewhat of a photographer myself.
I heard you want to go in the pornography business. Cut to the Oscorp boardroom meeting. As of today, Oscorp Industries has surpassed Quest Aerospace as the principal supplier to the United States military. In short, ladies and gentlemen of the board, costs are down, revenues are up, and our stock has never been higher.
Wonderful news, Norman. Matter of fact, it's the reason we're selling the company.
What?
Quest is recapitalizing. In the wake of the bombing expanding, they made a tender offer we can't ignore.
Why wasn't I told?
Last thing they want is a power struggle with entrenched management.
The deal is off if you come with it. The board expects your resignation in 30 days.
But you can't do this to me. I started this company. You know how much I sacrificed. Oh, Max, please.
Norman, the board is unanimous. We're announcing the sale after the World Unity Festival. I'm sorry.
You're out, Norman.
As he sips like a cup of tea. Norman puts his hand up to his face and murmurs to himself with a grin on his face. Am I? Because you're out. That's where he goes later on with out, am I?
Yeah.
Cut to the World Unity Festival in Times Square. Peter is on the ground with crowds of people, taking photos of big balloons and festival in general, as well as spying on Harry and MJ, who are up on the balcony. Harry sees Peter watching. All this is happening while Macy Gray sings a sensual song with her delicate, soft voice.
Baby, I know we had a bad day, but you're so mad at me. It don't mean we have to mouth around. Picture us on the moon, happy like a cartoon. Believe in love and it will come down.
That was amazing.
That's very good. Thank you, Macy. Thank you.
The Oscorp board members are up on the balcony with Harry and MJ. Harry asks why MJ didn't wear the black dress, as his dad likes black. MJ says that maybe he'll be impressed no matter what. Yeah, MJ, maybe. We'll find out at Thanksgiving.
I think he likes green.
Peter's spider sense starts to go off, but Peter doesn't know why.
Oh, hi, Mr. Fargas.
Oh, hi, Harry.
Have you seen my father around?
Well, I'm not sure if he's coming today.
Suddenly, Peter sees a flying object come into view from afar. It appears to be a man on a glider.
What is that?
Must be new this year.
Chairman uses binoculars to get a better look.
That's our glider! What the hell was that?
Goblin throws a pumpkin bomb that blows up the structure below the balcony. Stan Lee helps a young girl get away from the falling debris.
He did.
Peter yanks some people back with his webbing as well. The balcony starts to break away with MJ left on it. Peter runs and does the Superman shirt rip to reveal his Spider-Man suit.
Which no one saw. No one saw.
No.
But it's such a Superman reveal. Oh, God. Goblin returns to the balcony. Out am I! Goblin throws a bomb that turns all Oscorp board members into early 2000s CGI skeletons, killing them,
good.
very similar to Robbie Williams' I Don't Wanna Rock,
DJ.
but you're making me feel so right. Goblin sees MJ on the balcony. Hello, my dear. Spider-Man arrives and knocks Goblin off his glider, knocking him to the ground. Goblin's glider knocks into a balloon structure that is about to fall onto a dumb kid who just won't move.
He won't move.
Spider-Man has to save his sorry ass. Goblin knocks down a bunch of cops, then Spider-Man. You can see that Goblin has strength and reflexes similar to Spider-Man. Goblin chases Spider-Man with his glider, shooting at him. Then Spider-Man uses the big character balloons to jump to save MJ, but gets intercepted by Goblin on the glider. They to and fro for a couple of minutes until Spider-Man pulls out some of the glider's wiring, causing Goblin to retreat. We'll meet again, Spider-Man! Spider-Man dives to grab the falling MJ. He then swings off to a nearby rooftop garden. He could have put her down anywhere in that crowd, and he's like, I'm going to take her 5 blocks away.
Yeah, literally. It's like
She probably had her car parked at the balcony, and now she has to go all the way back.
down the whole
Goes, down the stairs and...
elevator's out of order.
Yeah.
She's going to take a taxi. It'll take about an hour to get back because of traffic.
Yeah.
Senseless.
Wow, beats taking the subway.
Does it, though?
Don't mind us, she just needs to use the elevator.
Wait, who are you?
You know who I am.
I do?
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Spider-Man then jumps and flips off the building and swings away. Cut to MJ talking to Harry on the phone.
Incredible? What do you mean he's incredible? No, alright, wait, stay there. I'm gonna come over. No, I'm gonna come over. Alright, fine. Will you call me in the morning? And we'll go and have breakfast. And, I want to buy you something. Because I want to. It'll make you feel better. Okay? And, like, what do you mean, incredible? Alright, I'm sorry. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed.
Phone line goes dead before he can say fight. Because they let down the bed bugs. It's like, got it, mate.
She's alright. She's just a little rattled.
Yeah.
Come on, you got to memorize your lines. You've got
That
one
dramatic
word.
pause there.
One word, this whole thing. One word.
Look, Pete, I should have told you about us. At least you know I'm crazy about her. It's just, you never made a move.
You're right, I didn't.
I'm gonna go get some rest.
I'm gonna stay up for a while.
What was that thing?
I don't know. Whatever it is, somebody has to stop it.
Cut to Osborne Mansion. Norman hears that familiar goblin laugh echo through the mansion. Norman talks to the goblin, wondering where he is. Goblin says things like, "You've known all along." Norman's search for the goblin ends when he finds him in the mirror. Goblin is the alternate personality of Norman. Goblin tells Norman that they've killed the Oscorp board members and will kill anyone who gets in their way. Goblin tells Norman to remember the little accident in the laboratory. "There's only one who can stop us. Or imagine if he joined us."
That scene, man. When I was a kid, I obviously watched it when I was quite young. It was that scene. It was the laughter, the quick sort of jungle music, doo, 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 and then cutting really quickly to all the mask, and then he's like, "Over here." He's like, "Oh," to the mirror. I would cry.
It's terrifying. I think he plays the both characters so well, like the goblin side and also the Norman side so
that scene
perfectly.
was all one take.
Oh yeah.
And it's thinking, you can never go, is that Norman or is that Goblin? Because he does such a personality change. You can tell just by hearing who's talking. Cut to the Daily Bugle. Peter is talking to JJ.
Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. The Green Goblin. You like that? Made it up myself. These weirdos, all gotta have a name now.
Mr. Jameson, Spider.
JJ picks up the phone to get Hoffman, but Hoffman walks into the room instead.
Call the patent office. Copyright the name Green Goblin. I want a quarter every time someone says it.
Ooh, what about the name Green Meanie?
JJ points at Hoffman to go.
Spider-Man wasn't attacking the city. He was trying to save it. That's slander.
It is not. I resent that. Slander is spoken. In print. It's libel.
You don't trust anybody. That's your problem.
I trust my barber. What are you, his lawyer? Get out of here.
JJ throws his cigar out the window.
Let him sue me. Get rich like a normal person. That's what made this country.
The cigar that JJ threw out the window flies back in and lands on his desk. Then there is an explosion from behind JJ. The window explodes and Goblin flies in on his glider. Peter sees Goblin. "Jameson, you slime! Who's the photographer who takes the pictures of Spider-Man?"
I don't know who he is. His stuff comes in the mail.
"You're lying!
I swear.
He's the one who can bring me to him."
I don't know who he is.
Got to give credit to... Sorry, I got fully into confidence then. Got to give credit to JJ here. He protects his staff and sources no matter what the cost. "You are useless.
Sit him down, tough guy.
Speak of the devil."
I knew you two were in this together.
Spider-Man webs up Jameson's mouth.
Hey, kiddo. Let Mom and Dad talk for a minute, will you?
Goblin gasses Spidey with some sort of sleeping gas. "Sleep."
That was so...
That bass. I felt that in my lungs.
Goblin grabs the falling unconscious Spider-Man and flies off. Spider-Man is coming to on a rooftop. "Wake up, little spider. Wake up. No, you're not dead yet. Just paralyzed temporarily. You're an amazing creature, Spider-Man. You and I are not so different."
I'm not like you. You're a murderer.
"Well, to each his own. I chose my path. You chose the way of the hero. And they found you amusing for a while, the people of this city. Thanks, New York, for finding nobody does it being amusing. Really appreciate it, even if it was just for a little while. But the one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fail, fall, die trying. In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you. Why bother?
Because it's right?
Here's the real truth. There are 8 million people in this city, and those teeming masses exist for the sole purpose of lifting the few exceptional people onto their shoulders. You, me, we're exceptional. I could squash you like a bug right now, but I'm offering you a choice. Join me. Imagine what we could accomplish together, what we could create, or we could destroy. Cause the death of countless innocents in selfish battle again and again and again until we're both dead? Is that what you want? Goblin jumps back onto his glider. Think about it, hero.
That's an interesting scene.
It is.
It's sort of like, is that Goblin trying to further his own goals, or is that Norman like wanting to be still sort of a father figure to Peter in a way, in a very twisted way?
Like I say, he doesn't know who he is yet.
No. I think, you can interpret it in two different ways.
As much as Norman's crazy, he's still smart. And he realizes if he has people allied with him that can do his bidding for him, why he wouldn't have to get his hands dirty.
No.
You could stay as Norman for a good long while.
He's thinking, I could destroy this person, or imagine if we joined together, no one could stop us. No. Not even Doc Ock in part 2.
That'd be unbeatable.
The power of the sun.
Goblin flies off, leaving Spider-Man alone on the rooftop. Cut to the next day. Daily Bugle article reads, Spider-Man, Green Goblin terrorizes Bugle. Editor-in-Chief braves attack. There is also an edition of the Bugle that has a wanted poster for Spider-Man. Peter thinks about what Goblin said about the city turning on him while looking at the wanted poster. So actually, I didn't notice that until I watched this time. As he's looking at that, it's got Green Goblin going, eventually they'll turn on you. And he's like thinking about it.
What, in the background?
Like as he's looking at the wanted poster, you can hear Goblin's words going through him. So maybe for a moment he was thinking about what Goblin was saying.
He's only human at the end of the day.
Only human?
After all.
He could change.
Cut to MJ coming out of a failed audition. Looks like MJ wore a super low cut top, perhaps to sway the producers. Peter runs into MJ asking her about the audition, as he was in the neighborhood. It took him 2 buses and a cab to get into the neighborhood. What a creep Peter is. What the hell's he doing here? He doesn't belong here.
Classic Radiohead.
Just for you, Tenson.
He's literally wearing the shirt right now.
Such a fanboy.
Nerd.
Yeah.
A soap opera told MJ she needed acting lessons. Peter offers to buy MJ a cheeseburger. The sky's the limit, up to $7.84. MJ would like a cheeseburger, but she's actually going out for dinner with Harry. You remember Harry, Peter? Your best friend and roommate whose girlfriend you were trying to steal? Remember him? MJ walks off as she does. Peter can see some not-so-nice-looking guys follow her into an alleyway. Cue the rain. As MJ gets attacked by the not-so-nice-looking guys, Spider-Man comes out and attacks them, while MJ watches, all while her top gets more and more see-through from the rain.
It actually did, It really did. I noticed that last night. I was like, holy crap.
This is why I got 4K. After Spidey beats up all the guys, he comes down upside down from a web. MJ says how she has a superhero stalker. She ain't wrong. Then MJ takes off half his mask, exposing his mouth. Then has the classic upside down kiss that Peter really screws up in Spider-Man 3.
Are you ready, Tenson? Should you get upside down? And...
Maybe we should.
Maybe we should.
When they filmed that scene, it was actually really horrible to film.
Did you see his veins in his neck?
Yeah.
Because he could hardly breathe because she moved the mask off his face. But because of the rain,
Oh, and the water.
and she was kissing him, he couldn't breathe because the nose was covered up still. So he had to breathe through the kissing. Like he was breathing through the side of the mouth as he's kissing MJ.
That's actors' persistence. They'll do a scene no matter what.
When it's Hollywood, some of the most romantic scenes put on film are just some of the most horrible things to actually film.
I mean, credit, it made the scene, but still.
Yeah. Imagine how sick they must have gotten from that rain.
Oh, definitely.
Little hints are given to MJ before she finds out Spider-Man's identity in Spider-Man 2. Both Peter and Spider-Man use the line, I was in the neighborhood, mere minutes apart. That's sloppy Pete. Or does Peter actually want MJ to find out? Yes, the thing is, does he subconsciously want her to know, but he can't actually tell her? Keeps dropping all these hints. Cut to a building on fire in the daytime. A lady is screaming that her baby is inside. Spider-Man swings into the burning building and swings out with the baby. Then there is a blood-curdling scream that comes from inside the burning building. It really is a blood-curdling scream.
Legit.
The police officer says how he'll wait for Spidey to get back before arresting him. But Spidey says that he isn't coming back. Police chief signals him to go and save the person anyway. Why is he getting arrested? Because the Bugle said he's wanted? Or did the police actually issue a warrant for him?
Yeah, that's the only reason I could think of. A warrant.
That seems the most reasonable,
I'm guessing the warrant, I think the Bugle must have put a warrant out on them because of the fact that the breaking and entering
Oh,
the Goblin.
yeah, that actually might make sense. I like that line Spidey says back to him. It's like, I'm waiting for you here. And it's like, ain't coming back, chief. Latest.
Spider-Man goes into the building and finds the screaming person. It was Green Goblin in disguise. Goblin prepares some goblin buzzsaw bombs behind his back. You're pathetically predictable, like a moth to the flame. What about my generous proposal? Are you in or are you out? Sorry, my voice. Yep. It's your line, sir.
Oh my gosh. I was like lost.
Every time.
I was lost in your voice, Craig.
Oh, beautiful.
It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind.
Wrong answer. Goblin throws the bomb and it breaks into tiny buzzsaws that fly around and cut anything they touch. Spider-Man manages to flip around and avoid most of them, but one of them manages to cut Spider-Man across the outside of his forearm. Peter beats up Goblin a little bit before escaping away. No one says no to me. This is the awesome transition when I got here. The shot transitions from a close-up of Goblin's mask in the fire to Norman's face. He looks demonic as he attempts to go back from Goblin to Norman in the elevator. You see his face.
He's so sweaty.
And his eyes are like flickering. You do see stuff like that and you go, why did he cover that up with a mask? Yeah. You could have had that just as the Goblin.
And then he opens Aunt May opens the door, and he looks so clean, so fresh. Like he's just been to the barbers for a for a
Just
cut.
changed completely, in the matter of seconds.
Oh, scary.
Aunt May lets Norman in the door, like you said there, Keelin. Aunt May, I'm sorry I'm late. Work was murder. I picked up a fruitcake.
Why, thank you, Mr. Osborn. We're so glad you could come.
Harry introduces MJ to Norman. I noticed she's wearing black this time. You notice that? She's wearing black for Thanksgiving.
It was the same dress as well. Well,
That wasn't because she's wearing red.
it was sort of. I had the same patterns, I think.
I've been looking forward to meeting you.
Happy Thanksgiving, sir. Now, where is Peter? He'd better have remembered that cranberry sauce.
Suddenly, there was a loud thud from upstairs as Peter jumps in from the window.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't know he was here. Peter!
That's all this podcast will be. 2 hours.
The group goes upstairs looking for Peter. Peter quickly hides on the ceiling as he still has the Spider-Man suit on.
Every time Peter comes up, we should just say it like that. Peter.
How strange. There's nobody here.
Bit of a slob, isn't he?
All brilliant men are.
The group start heading back downstairs. As Norman is leaving, a drop of blood from Peter's cut drops to the floor. Norman hears it since he has enhanced senses of hearing and smell. I thought you were about to talk there or something because you were moving
No,
on.
I just saw a line that's coming up, and it's my favorite line in the movie.
Ah, beautiful. Norman looks up to see nothing. As the camera pans back down, you see Norman already looking at the window. It's like he's already beating the camera to actually the next spot. He's that clued up. Peter is hiding on the under part of the window outside, away from Norman's gaze. Cut back to Peter arriving through the front door.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, Peter.
Pitch perfect. I love that.
Sorry I'm late. It's a jungle out there. I had to beat an old lady with a stick to get these cranberries.
That right there is my favorite line in the whole movie. I had to beat an old lady with a stick to get these cranberries.
Everyone's laughing. Haha, you beat him an old lady.
So funny.
I could just picture Spider-Man just like with a stick beating Aunt May for cranberry sauce.
Top notch.
Thank you. Now then, everybody sit down.
Norman puts his fingers in one of the dishes, which causes Aunt May to slap his hand. Aunt May asks Norman to carve the turkey. Norman looks sadistic when he goes to do it, like he wants to murder Aunt May. Aunt May notices Peter is bleeding. His cut is exactly where Norman remembers cutting Spider-Man, across the back of the forearm.
Oh, yeah, I stepped off a curb and got clipped by one of those bike messengers.
Oh, that looks awful. I'll get the first aid kit. Then we can say grace.
How did you say that happened?
Bike messenger. Knocked me down.
Norman suddenly gets up out of his chair. If you'll excuse me, I've got to go.
What? Why?
Something has come to my attention. He looks at Peter when he says that. Thank you, Miss Parker. Everyone, enjoy the fruitcake. Harry chases after Norman, but leaving the door open for all to hear.
I planned this whole thing so you could meet MJ, and now you have to leave?
I've got to go.
This girl's important to me.
Harry, please. Look at her. You think a woman like that is sniffing around because she likes your personality?
What are you saying?
Your mother was beautiful too. They're all beautiful until they're snarling after your trust fund like a pack of ravening wolves.
I love that line.
I love when he just like, you can tell Norman just switches like a bit into Goblin. Like,
Time to get nasty. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're wrong about her, Dad.
A word to the not so wise about your little girlfriend. Do what you need to do with her. then broom it fast.
That's definitely Goblin saying that.
Thanks for sticking up for me, Harry.
Actually, MJ, I thought Harry did a fairly decent job of sticking up for you,
I
Ned.
thought the exact same thing, somewhat.
He's like saying you're wrong about her. No, you give her a chance. She's not that person. And she's like, thanks for sticking up. It's like, we did actually hear him sticking up for you.
Yeah, he actually did. Like, come on.
You heard? Everyone heard that creep. That creep is my father, all right? If I'm lucky, I'll become half of what he is. So just keep your mouth shut about things you don't understand. Harry Osborn.
MJ leaves. That was well done. You played 3 different characters in one go there.
That's that drama experience coming back.
Yeah.
I didn't do it 5 years for nothing.
That was so good, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Cut back to Norman talking to the goblin mask that he is hanging on the top part of his chair. Spider-Man is all but invincible. No, he's not. Just gas him again and kill him this time.
Literally, that's all he had to do.
All you gotta do is make him go, sleep.
Yeah. What is he doing?
But Parker, we can destroy him. I can't. Betrayal must not be commenced. Parker must be
Executed.
Parker must be educated. What do I do? Instruct him in the matters of loss and pain. Make him suffer. Make him wish he were dead. Yes? And then grant his wish. But how? The cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind. Tell me how? The heart, Osborn. First, we attack the heart.
I'm actually starting to really get into your goblin voice now. It's really progressed throughout this podcast. It's getting better.
It's really good. Yeah, it's getting better and better.
It's hard in the voice box.
Yours is a lot more than Jameson's, so... Parker.
Cut to Aunt May praying on the end of a bed with a picture of Uncle Ben beside her.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us.
Suddenly, there's an explosion, and Green Goblin flies in from the now exposed window.
Deliver us
Finish it! Finish it!
from evil!
What did Goblin do to Aunt May? Did he just scare her by dropping in, or did he physically beat her afterwards? Anyway, cut to Peter running in a panic.
Anyway, moving on.
It just seems like he scared her and ran off.
She looked very messed up, though.
But she didn't look physically messed
Not
up.
physically, no, but she sounded scared.
So I think he just kind of flew off afterwards.
Yeah, probably.
Cut to Peter running in panicked to the emergency room of a hospital, where he finds Aunt May in a hysterical state.
Those eyes! Those horrible yellow eyes!
That was bang on.
Yeah,
That was really
perfect.
good. Peter then comes to the realization.
He knows who I am.
It's more like, he knows who I am.
He knows who I am.
There you go. Before it was like a question. He knows who I am?
Yeah.
Who am I?
I'm Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Peter sits next to Aunt May's hospital bed. Peter looks at a photo of himself, Aunt May, and Uncle Ben that is next to her bedside. Peter says, I'm sorry. I'm guessing he's saying that to Uncle Ben for getting Aunt May hurt. Like he goes, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice that until this point. He's like, I'm so sorry, but I think he's talking to Uncle
Because he's
Ben.
looking at the picture, isn't he?
Yeah.
As he says that. So he's probably talking... I think he's talking to Ben as well, yeah.
Cut to the next day. MJ comes to visit Aunt May. MJ and Peter get to talking. She says how she can't stop thinking about Spider-Man. To score points with her, Peter says how he knows Spider-Man. He's kind of his unofficial photographer. Aunt May pretends to be asleep so that she can eavesdrop on Peter's and MJ's conversation.
Sneaky girl. Has he mentioned me?
Yeah?
What does he say?
I said, he asked me what I thought about you.
And what did you say?
I said, Spider-Man? I said, the great thing about MJ is when you look in her eyes and she's looking back in yours, everything feels not quite normal because you feel stronger and weaker at the same time. You feel excited and at the same time terrified. The truth is, you don't know what to feel, except you know what kind of man you want to be. It's as if you've reached the unreachable and you weren't ready for it.
Well done, because it was a big lot of dialogue.
It
that
was.
I couldn't break it up because it's a quotation line, because that's what he's saying Spider-Man said.
It's like a monologue kind of thing, yeah.
He's just been speaking in his head the whole time.
Pretty much, yeah.
You said that?
Well, something like that.
MJ holds Peter's hand. Harry walks in with some flowers for Aunt May when he sees Peter and MJ holding hands. Awkward!
Hey,
I was holding hands though. It's not like we're making out.
Nothing was happening.
It's a troubled time for Peter. His aunt, his only living relative right now, is in hospital.
Imagine if he walked in and he was like, Peter was just pounding.
Yeah, I was about to say, what if he's just...
And Aunt May's like, not sorry to look.
Aunt
Spider-Man.
May's under the covers doing something else.
Explicit Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm sorry, Harry. I didn't realize you were going to come in here. Cut to the Osborne mansion. Harry hears magical laughing. Harry hears maniacal laughing through the house.
Dad? Dad, is that you?
Norman comes out from a room upstairs and meets Harry at the staircase. What is it?
Well, you were right. Right about MJ. You were right about everything. She's in love with Peter.
Parker.
Yeah.
And how does he feel about her?
Well, he's loved her since the 4th grade. He pretends like he doesn't, but there's no one Peter cares for more.
I'm so sorry. I haven't always been there for you, have I?
You're busy. You're an important man.
That's no excuse. I'm proud of you. I've lost sight of that somewhere, but I'm going to make it up to you, Harry. I'm going to rectify certain inequities. I like when he says that, like, it's revenge in his eyes.
Yeah.
As soon as he said that MJ likes him, he's like, actually.
I could do something with this.
Yeah. Norman hugs Harry. And it's what Harry's been wanting his whole life, pretty much. You
whole
can see him,
time.
like, holding on. He's gripping onto
Finally gets his father.
Say what you will about James Franco, he did like play that like really sad loner boy.
He's played Tommy Wiseau. He's a great actor. Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mud. I did not hit her. I did not.
Then it quickly cuts to a shot of Green Goblin waking up and saying, "Wake up, little spider." But I'm guessing this is inside Norman's head, or maybe Norman sleeps in the goblin suit and he's getting up. Nope, it was a little dream in Peter's head. Aunt May was trying to get him to wake up as he's fallen asleep at her hospital bedside.
Go home, dear. You look awful.
And you look beautiful.
Well, thank you.
We know that scene before when she made him undress. This
Yeah.
changes everything.
I don't like to leave you here.
But I'm safe here.
Can I do anything for you?
You do too much. College, a job, all this time with me. You're not Superman, you know.
No, DC reference.
Another one.
Peter smiles.
A smile. Finally. Haven't seen one of those on your face since Mary Jane was here.
Hey, you were supposed to be asleep.
Aunt May then tells the story about when MJ first moved in next door. Peter asked Aunt May if MJ was an angel. Was that an angel?
Is that an angel?
Well, Harry's in love with her. She still is, girl.
Well, isn't that up to her?
She doesn't really know who I am.
Because you won't let her. You're so mysterious all the time. Tell me, would it be so dangerous to let Mary Jane know how much you care? Everybody else knows.
Peter smiles for a moment, then a look of panic sets across his face.
I'll be right back.
Peter runs down the hospital hall to a coin-operated phone booth. Remember those?
Yeah. Ka-ching, ka-ching.
Throwback.
It is classic. Classic. Peter rings MJ, but gets the answering machine. Remember those? As Peter is leaving a message for her, the phone is picked up.
Hello?
Can Spider-Man come out to play? I put here, is it a homage to the Warriors? Because the Warriors come out to play. I'm wondering if that is a Warriors. It might not be, but
Maybe Sam Raimi was a fan.
when he goes, can Spider-Man come out to play? It kind of reminded me of Warriors.
Where is she?
That's another DC reference.
Where is she?
We'll just find them everywhere now. Oh my God.
MJ.
DC references like a virus, they just spread.
Literally.
Cut to MJ waking up and realizing she's on top of the Queensboro Bridge.
Oh.
Still in her PJs. Good thing she doesn't sleep in the nude.
Could you imagine
that.
Explicit Spider-Man.
Go from an M to an R16 within a matter of seconds.
Goblin flies around the bridge, laughing and scaring some of the kids in a nearby Roosevelt Island gondola. Well, some of the kids thought it was cool. Easy to see which kids will grow up to be serial killers. Goblin then starts singing his own version of the Itsy Bitsy Spider. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the goblin and washed the spider out.
I thought it was took the spider out, wasn't it?
Maybe, I don't know.
That could be. Who knows?
One of those.
Yeah.
Goblin blows up something under the bridge. It was the gondola control building. Spider-Man shows up.
Goblin, what have you done?
Goblin grabs the broken cable of the gondola and starts dragging it up towards the top of the bridge. Still think this is cool, serial killer kids? Spider-Man uses his webs to slingshot himself onto the bridge. Spider-Man! This is why only fools are heroes. Straight away my voice like...
That Larnax, bro, it's getting abused.
It is. I still got another podcast tomorrow. Because you never know when some lunatic will come along with a sadistic choice. Let die the woman you love. MJ is hanging off the bridge with only Goblin stopping her from falling. She loses her slippers to the water below. Or suffer the little children. Goblin's other arm still has a hold of the cable attached to the gondola. Make your choice, Spider-Man, and see how a hero is rewarded.
Don't do it, Goblin.
We are who we choose to be. Now, choose. Does that want to sound like Kermit the Frog this time? Now, choose. Sleep. Beer.
Murder.
Goblin lets go of MJ and the cable to the gondola at the same time. I love the shot of seeing both choices reflected in Spider-Man's visors. You see when they're falling down, you see one side's
Yeah,
got
one side's
MJ.
gondola. MJ. That's very good camera work.
Beautiful.
Very good editing.
absolutely.
Spider-Man makes his choice. He decides to choose them both. He jumps down and grabs MJ, then swings over to the gondola wire and grabs it. Spider-Man tells MJ that she needs to climb down the wire along of his the wire down his hand along of his hands. Is holding. For some reason, my English is bad in this. So climb down the wire and go down to the gondola and go down to the gondola below, while the other is. I don't know what I've done here. I'm going to try again. Spider-Man tells MJ that she needs to climb down the wire, down his hands into the gondola below, while the other is attached to a web that is holding everything up. There you go.
Yes.
I have to change it on the fly.
You got it.
Change it on the fly.
Nice, that improv though.
MJ says she can't, but Spider-Man says that he believes in her and to trust him. A rubbish barge starts to slowly make its way over to them. The barge is going to come under and catch the gondola. It will just take a few minutes. Goblin comes back and hits Spider-Man, making Spidey lose the grip on the gondola cable momentarily, before re-grabbing it. MJ falls off the cable, but manages to hang on to the side of the gondola. Goblin comes back in on his glider to attack Spider-Man, only this time he's going to stab Spidey with his glider front blades. It's time to die! Goblin is closing in when suddenly an object hits Goblin and knocks him off balance, causing him to miss Spider-Man. But where did the object come from? It came from the bridge. Citizens of New York keep throwing stuff at Goblin.
Come on up here, tough guy. I got something for you.
Leave Spider-Man alone. You're gonna pick on a guy trying to save a bunch of kids?
Oh yeah, I got something for your ass! You mess with Spidey, you mess with New York!
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
Can you tell this happened just after 9/11?
Yeah.
Yep.
Spider-Man successfully gets the gondola on the barge. MJ still hanging onto the side. The crowd cheer. Goblin grabs a now exhausted Spider-Man and flies off with him. Spider-Man is thrown into an old, dirty, abandoned building. He narrowly misses a bunch of sharp objects before being knocked down by Goblin. Misery, misery, misery. That's what you have chosen. I offered you friendship, and you spat in my face. Spider-Man tries to fight back, but he's too weak and tired from holding up the gondola to be a match for Goblin. Spider-Man even takes a pumpkin bomb to the face that blows off about 60% of his mask. Not his face, though, because that would be horrific.
That mask is strong.
A broken and beaten Spider-Man is left defeated, yet Spider-Man still tries to fight.
That fight scene, by the way, was brutal. Pete getting his butt kicked in.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kick after punch through a wall, and the
And the sound of the punches?
yeah, and the slow motion one as we went, ooh.
Some of the punches felt wet.
Yeah,
It's probably the blood. And his nose broken as well.
Yeah.
brutal.
You've spun your lost web, Spider-Man. Had you not been so selfish, your little girlfriend's death would have been quick and painless. But now that you've really pissed me off, I'm gonna finish her nice and slow. These were not the words to say to Spider-Man as rage comes across his face. Goblin pulls out a weird three-pronged electricity spear thing. Me and MJ, we're gonna have a hell of a time. Goblin goes to stab Spider-Man in the face with that electric spear thing, but Peter stops Goblin's momentum, a mere centimeters away from his face. Spider-Man then starts to overpower Goblin and ruthlessly starts beating Goblin down.
This was also brutal.
He even webs a piece of wool and slams it down on top of Goblin, just throws it down on him. Spider-Man then swings and slams Goblin up against a brick wall and just keeps pummeling him until Goblin says, "Peter, stop, it's me."
Peter.
Peter is confused for a moment until Goblin removes his helmet.
Mr. Osborn,
Peter, thank God for you.
you killed all those people on that balcony.
The Goblin killed. I had nothing to do with it. Don't let him take me again. I beg you, protect me.
You tried to kill Aunt May, you tried to kill Mary Jane.
But not you. As Norman is talking, camera pans down to show you that he is summoning his glider via his wrist button remote. I tried to stop it, but I couldn't stop it. I would never hurt you. The glider appears behind a broken wall behind Peter. I knew from the beginning if anything ever happened to me, it was you who I could count on. You, Peter Parker, would save me, and so you have. Thank God for you. Give me your hand. Believe in me as I believed in you. I've been like a father to you. Be a son to me now.
I have a father. His name was Ben Parker.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
I do love that, like when that whole scene, he's like, please, Peter, no. And then flat face.
Yeah.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Back to Goblin again, yeah.
So quick.
Peter's spider sense goes off as Goblin sends the glider blades out towards Peter from behind the wall. Peter flips out of the way. Oh! The glider comes directly at Goblin. I like that. Oh! As he realizes the glider's going right at him. Yeah, the glider comes directly at Goblin, stabbing him to the brick wall behind him. Peter. Don't tell Harry.
That actually made me sad. I did cry during Norman's death.
It's also a brutal death scene as well. Yeah, you really feel it. Yeah.
Norman then dies. The cause, his own glider. If I was Peter, I wouldn't have honoured Norman's final wish. Peter owed Norman nothing. So does it do it more for Norman or does it do it for Harry?
Well, maybe that's why Norman asked him to do it. Maybe he was doing it for Harry as well.
Yeah. And this one's going to be another small spoiler for No Way Home. Interesting scene, this one. The impression that I get from this is that Norman is just as evil as the Goblin. But minor spoiler warning here for No Way Home. It seems that Norman is purely good while the Goblin is all of Norman's dark side in the No Way Home. So that's what I always got confused because he seems like he's almost on board with Goblin in this part here. And it's like, I think he's more evil than he's letting on, Norman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will agree on that.
He's probably had it in him since forever. It's always been festering. And then that serum was just the boost.
Well, it's like Gollum in Lord of the Rings where he's like, Smeagol promised, Smeagol lied.
The
Like,
same personality traits, yeah.
Smeagol's
That's a
evil.
very good analogy to picture that with.
Yeah.
Also, until I did the notes, I never really picked up how much Norman uses God in his speech in this. Knowing that his aunt and uncle were religious, he uses this to try and sway Peter.
That's good.
There's a reason why Green Goblin is considered Spider-Man's #1 nemesis enemy.
It's his Joker.
Yeah, it's Batman and Joker, Spider-Man, and Green Goblin.
More so than Doc Ock.
Yeah, well, Doc Ock's sort of like that grayer because Peter sees Doc Ock as, I guess, what he used to see Norman as, like that scientist. Man, he doesn't have luck with scientists, eh?
Norman's just what he could be if he didn't have Uncle Ben. Yeah. What he could have potentially been.
Two sides of the same coin.
Yin and yang. Cut to the Osborn mansion. Harry is entering his dad's office when he sees Spider-Man putting down his dad's lifeless body onto that fancy office bed couch thing. It's just dark enough so Harry can't see Peter's face.
What have you done? What have you done?
He pulls out a gun's like, yeah, that ain't gonna work on Spider-Man. Cut to Harry, Peter, MJ, and Aunt May all enjoying Norman's funeral.
Enjoy.
It's always nice to see everyone back here for a funeral. Peter tries to comfort Harry.
Hey, I'm so sorry, Harry. I know what it's like to lose a father.
I didn't lose him. He was stolen from me. One day, Spider-Man will pay. I swear on my father's grave, Spider-Man will pay.
Where's Bernard, the butler? Doesn't he wish to speak to Harry now about cleaning his dad's wounds and finding that they were a match for his own glider? No? We're going to wait about 5 years to tell him? All right.
Bloody Bernard could have saved us the whole of the third movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
And probably the second.
He could have come at the funeral. Sir, he was killed by his own glider. I cleaned his wound. Why'd you clean his wounds?
Yeah.
What, were you some sick freak?
Preparing his body.
Yeah. But he's not an undertaker. He's a butler.
Oh, he's the butler for Norman Osborn and also the Green Goblin.
He's Alfred.
He says Alfred. Thank God for you, Peter. You're the only family I have.
Harry hugs Peter. Cut to a Peter narration.
No matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, the ones I love will always be the ones who pay.
Cut to Peter visiting Uncle Ben's grave. MJ walks over to him and hugs him.
You must miss him so much.
It's been so hard without him.
There's something I've been wanting to tell you. When I was up there, and I thought I was going to die, there was only one person who I was thinking of. And it wasn't who I thought it'd be. It was you, Pete. I kept
So
thinking...
please turn over cassette.
Please turn page. I kept thinking, I hope I make it through this, so I could see Peter Parker's face one more time.
Really?
There's only one man who's always been there for me, who makes me feel like I'm more than I ever thought I could be. That I'm just me. And that's okay. The truth is, I love you. Oh, I love you so much, Peter.
MJ kisses Peter. MJ kisses Peter. Time for some inner thought narration.
All I wanted was to tell her how much I loved her.
Now back to actual talking.
I can't
You can't what?
tell you everything. I mean, there's so much to tell.
Okay, I was like 1 in the morning when I was doing this, and this is where I got sick of continuing the dialogue. So I just, I mean, it just kept going and going and going. Long story short, Peter says he will always be MJ's friend, but he can't be anything more for her.
Friend zone.
MJ gets upset, but then touches her lips like, hold up. That kiss from Peter was very similar to the one I did with Spider-Man.
But ironically and conveniently in the second movie, forgets
Yeah,
about
exactly.
it.
She's like, like she does like, oh my god, he's Spider-Man. I'm gonna look at her face.
Oh my god.
Peter walks away from MJ with this narration over top.
Whatever life holds in store for me, I will never forget these words. With great power comes great responsibility. This is my gift, my curse. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Cut to a shot of Spider-Man swinging through New York City, ending with a shot of Spidey hanging onto a flagpole that has the United States flag. USA! USA! USA!
Island. Sorry.
End of movie. Right, so we've got through the movie, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was great.
That was great fun. I enjoyed that heavily.
So many great lines.
Peter.
Peter's the classic one.
Peter.
Right, so now that we've gone through Spider-Man, let's get to our ratings.
Yeah, let's go.
And they said that a hero to save us, not gonna sing a song anymore because it's not one of my favorites.
Oh.
Right, so we're back now. That's okay.
we're
That's
back?
okay. Chad Kroger's a bit of a dick, though, isn't he? So we're back with our ratings now. So Tenson and Keelin are both going to rate. I'm not, because there's 3 of us this week, which means all the pressure's on you guys. Good luck. All the hate mail I get, I'll say, here's Tenson and Keelin's address. So for rating for story, out of 5 stars, Keelin, what have you given it?
So, I gave it a 4. I think it was paced very well, especially rewatching it nowadays, over and over again. I think the pacing was really well done. I think the character development was also real done. The characters really impacted the story perfectly. I think the only reason it comes down from 5 to 4, I think just the pacing towards the end. I say the pacing's great, but also the pacing is not that great. They fit a good amount for what they did in the time, but I also think they should have maybe just made it a tad bit longer and fitted in a bit more. Peter's journey felt just the tiniest bit rushed, but that's why it's a 4, because it was still very good.
Fair enough. Tenson?
For me, I would definitely agree. I gave it 4.5 stars.
Oh, you can do decimals?
4.5, yeah.
But I think I agree with Keelin on the fact that the pacing is really good, but towards the end feels a bit rushed. And I think it could have been fleshed out a bit better, but the way the story is told and, you know, you really get into the character of Spider-Man and how relatable he is, I would say it's really well told. So yeah, 4.5 for me.
It's lucky that, well, Sam Raimi will be thinking the stars that you guys read that, not me. I would have given that 3 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
I think the story is very basic. It's good. It's a good origin story, and it hasn't been told before until this came out, so that's why it's really good. It's got some basic elements to it, where it's just evil scientist turns evil, and Spider-Man loses his uncle and has to be like the origin story part of it is actually really, really good. Once he comes to the city, it kind of becomes a bit weird, where he's like, I'm a photographer now. I got Dr. Connor's thing. And all of a sudden goblins around. It's cool, but it doesn't seem like is tight, is the origin part of it. Up to the point where he's actually in the city, I think it's probably a 4 or 5 out of 5 stars. But then once he gets to the city, it isn't quite as tight as it could have been. So I think maybe the story, I don't know what it could have done to be better, so that's why I'm not going to be too harsh, but I would have given it 3. But yeah, you guys have been much more generous, and I'm sure Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire are saying thank you. For acting, Tenson, what have you given it?
So the acting, I'm a bit lower on this one. I've given 3 out of 5. I think a lot of the acting can come off as quite cheesy. I think definitely, but then again, like it's one of their first, well, most of the cast's first roles. But the reason why I've given 3 is the extra rating would be towards Willem Dafoe as Goblin, because I think he's definitely the best actor in the entire movie by quite a way. But yeah, no, definitely 3 out of 5 from me.
Fair enough. What about you, Keelin?
Yeah, 3.5. I agree with that. I was thinking of putting it 5 just for Willem Dafoe because he is that much of a powerful an actor, but I'm judging it on a whole. I think really the only 2 actors that I liked the most in the movie was Dafoe and Rosemary Harris, who plays Aunt May.
I forgot about her actually. She was really good.
Yeah, Toby was good as well, but again, I guess his cheesy... Actually, you know what? I'm going to change it to a 4. I'm going to change it to a 4. Just because I was like, Toby's lines is really cheesy, but it's very Peter Parker. So that's why I'll allow that. I'll go 4.
I would have given it a 5. I think J. Jonah Jameson is amazing.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Put me down for 5. Put me down for 5.
He absolutely stole the show, and he's still Jameson to this day. For that reason, no one can actually replace that.
How did I forget Jameson? I'm changing my...
Willem Dafoe, Cliff Robertson as Uncle Ben's amazing. He's still the best Uncle Ben I've ever seen on screen. So I would just give this a 5 just because alone, Dafoe, Uncle Ben, Cliff Robertson, even Rosemary Harris as Aunt May, and J. Jonah Jameson.
I'm changing mine back to 5 because I had 5, then 3.5, and now 5.
Everyone's 5?
Yeah, I'm going back to 5.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no. I will go 4. Sorry.
You go 4?
Yeah.
That's fine. And you'll go 5.
Yeah, 5, sorry.
J.K. Simmons is amazing in that role. He's amazing in Whiplash as well.
Any of y'all out there haven't seen Whiplash, get on that. It's such a good movie.
So we got 4 and 5. I swayed you guys. There you go.
Because you reminded me of J.K. Simmons.
I was like, why are you guys not mentioning J. Jonah Jameson?
How?
You swayed me back is what you should say.
Right, for how well it holds up. Tenson, what have you got?
So I gave it 3.5, mainly because I don't think some of the CG has aged all that well, but it doesn't detract you from the movie. Some of the CG still looks pretty good, but yeah, overall, definitely very 2000s and early 2000s, and you can tell it is.
Yeah, fair enough. And Keelin?
I give it a 3. 3 stars. CG for that time was good. Pretty good. I think what gives it a 3 is just... I don't know, you know, some of the lines in that movie wouldn't run in movies these days. Like, especially the attitude the bullies had towards Peter, when Peter said, did your husband make that for you? I could see a lot of people kicking up a fuss about that. Flash rolling up in his car, hey babe, don't scratch the leather. Like, I don't know. So I think just 3. Yeah, 3. I'll settle on 3.
Fair enough. I would probably give it about a 3 or 3.5 as well. I think the CGI at time it was pretty good, but now you look back at how well it holds up, it doesn't hold up well. They went a little bit too much with CGI in some areas where practical could have worked better for long term.
It's interesting. You look at like Lord of the Rings, the CG in that came out around the same time. Looks like has aged a lot better than this one has.
Oh, I'll give you this one. Terminator came out like a decade before this and still looks better.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Terminator looked
definitely.
amazing.
Jurassic Park came out about a decade before us.
Timeless movies.
So sometimes, yeah, CGI can be dated if it's done incorrectly. Look at The Mummy from 1999.
Oh my god, don't.
It hasn't aged well, but it's not because they used the CGI, they just used it incorrectly. Music. Keelin, what have you given it?
I give 5. There, no option not to. The scores, Danny Elfman just killed it. It wasn't even just the music, it was the placement of music as well. It's like, again, when he's climbing up the wall for the first time, the dun, dun, dun. Whenever, like you said earlier in the podcast, when Peter took a monumental step to being Spider-Man, a somber tone of the theme would play. Very well made and very well placed into the movie, so it just gets a 5 out of 5 for me.
I don't think there's too much more to add on that one from me, but I gave it 4.5.
But yeah, I basically agree with what you've said. I think Danny Elfman really nailed the score on this one. Like, that theme is so iconic, and I think it's very nostalgic for many Spider-Man fans out there. Fantastic score, and yeah, 4.5 from me.
Fair enough. No, those are both very strong scores, and I'd give it a 5 as well if I was doing it. You think of classic superhero themes. You think of Batman, you think of Superman, and I think of Spider-Man. Those are the three. Like, there's other ones, like there's Wonder Woman's with a bunch of cats up there. So it was just kind of cool. And Avengers one is also probably one I'd put up there as well, the Avengers theme.
That's definitely more of like the modern iconic. That's what our generation, or I guess my generation now, will be remembering when they're like your age.
20 plus years from now.
I love composers that can create timeless themes, and Danny Elfman is probably, him and John Williams are the best at creating timeless themes. There are some very, very good composers out there that do exceptional work, like Hans Zimmer, but he doesn't create timeless themes. He kind of creates music that creates a mood.
He's made some, but not as much to the degree as John Williams.
This is like, for me, other than probably his Batman theme, this is Danny Elfman's best theme he's ever done.
100%.
So that's why I had to give it 5 stars, but I don't count. So let's move on. For visuals, how good it looks. Keelin, what have you given it?
So I've given it a 5, but I could be swayed, but I think I might keep it. The reason I'm giving it a 5 was because of the camera work in the movie. The camera work, especially for that time in mid-2000s, the amount of, I can imagine the set now, the amount of cranes they would have to have, the amount, they probably had about 50 cameras in one room trying to get one shot, plus the CGI, again, dated, but for that time was good. And having all that, it may have gotten a bit too much at some times, but having it just fly across the screen with the music in the background, it just all came together in this one package so that's why I'm a 5.
Yeah, well, I did have 4.5, but I think I'm going to go for a 5 because I think it's definitely the visuals have held up today, and especially the scene that we talked about earlier in the podcast with the vision of that Spider-Man has through the visors of his suits is beautiful, and that deserves a 5 in itself. But I think the detail and everything in the suit and everything looks really good, and hats off to...
It's what Spider-Man fans back then would have wanted from the movie.
I mean, that's a credit to Sam Raimi as well. Like, you can tell he's very passionate about Spider-Man, and it comes off very, very much in this film. So
I can see why you guys go to 5, and I'd probably give it a 4 just because I think he does what he does in this, but better in Spider-Man 2. So that's why I'd give that a 5 over this one, a 4. That's just hindsight, though, because I've already gone and seen Spider-Man. I know how much better it gets.
Yeah. My reviews are based off if I haven't seen anything in the future, by the way.
To give it a 5 is still a very good reason to that. Like, you watch this movie, like, out of all the series, even though the second movie was my favorite out of the series, I find that this movie has the most iconic scenes. Has the scene where he balances all the food onto the tray. Has the one with the blood dripping down. Has the scene, like I said, with the visor showing the two choices he's got to make.
And then, sorry, I had to beat an old lady with a stick to get this crown. That's a big meme these days.
Even the intro of the webbing. That's another good visual that all of a sudden you see it, you know what you're in for.
Plus when he's just webbing up his room as well. That's a classic scene that people play on any sort of compilation for funny videos they can find.
Yeah, climbing the wall scene again. There's just a lot of scenes that are so iconic in this movie that I can understand why you give it a 5. And I think it's very, very well done.
I think it's just the tiny details as well for me. Like, there's a lot of wee snippets in this movie that just keeps on bumping it up.
I think, the suit alone looks amazing.
Yeah.
Right, so we've done our ratings now for Spider-Man from 2002. I had to think about what you did because I was thinking of Batman for some reason. Spider-Man 2002. So let's go for the ratings. So out of 5 stars, let's go for story. Tenson gave it 4.5 and Keelin gave it 4. For acting, Keelin gave it 5 and Tenson gave it 4 after we talked about J.J. Jameson, J.K. Simmons. For how well it holds up, Tenson gave it 3.5 and Keelin gave it 3. For music, Keelin gave it 5 stars and Tenson gave it 4.5. And for visuals, how good it looks, Tenson gave it 5 and Keelin gave it 5. Gave a grand total for Tenson of 21.5 out of 25 possible stars and Keelin 22 out of 25 possible stars, which gives us a total of 43.5 or 43.5 stars out of 50. If we go to the charts here, it means that it's now in 5th place behind Big and Batman. So let's go for the top. It's got Jurassic Park, which is a perfect 50 stars. It can't be beat, can only be matched. Jumanji, which is second with 47.5 stars. And then Batman and Big are 44.5. And just behind that now is Spider-Man with 43.5 stars.
Just think, if you had given it one more,
would have
it would have been equal.
Yeah. If J.K. Simmons got a wee bit more, it would be fine.
If he had one more scene.
But yeah, so it's knocked out the likes of Boogie Nights, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, The Mask from 1994, Jim Carrey, The Punisher, The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990, The Phantom, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I didn't realize you had done a Punisher.
2004, Thomas Jane. Yeah, it's an underrated film that we wanted to bring
is.
wanted to address out.
Justice. Punishment.
But yeah, so Jurassic Park is 1, Jumanji 2, Batman and Big are third equal, Spider-Man now is in 5th, Boogie Nights 6th, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is in 7th, The Mask is in 8th, The Punisher from 2004 is in 9th, 10th is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990, 11th is The Phantom with Billy Zane from 1996, and last but not least is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So they're all very good movies today. The lowest score is 33 out of 50, that's well over 50%.
We just got to do a podcast one day where we just do a stinker of a movie.
I do worst of the worst.
Oh yeah, true.
Wait for Spider-Man 3. That will be on there.
Nah, that's the best one though.
Listen to Mortal Kombat Annihilation for worst of the worst, and you'll find out just how bad a film can get.
It's important to have the bad ones, though, on there.
Me and Jeff were sick during the podcast. That's how bad that movie was. It made us sick to our stomachs.
Energy.
We both had man flus. 43.5 stars out of 50, so well done for Spider-Man 2002. That's really, really good.
Congratulations, Sam Raimi.
Do you guys have anything last to add about Spider-Man before we go off for the night? So, Tenson, have you got anything else to add about your experience with Spider-Man, or just overview?
I think, just watching the film again today it brings back a lot of memories of when I was younger, and it's great memories, and it's a fantastic movie, and I will keep watching it in the future and keep enjoying it, basically. Yeah.
Keelin?
I think for me, Spider-Man for me is my favorite superhero of all comic lines ever. Like, period. He's number one. What he stands for, I'm not lying when I say he's low-key shaped how... Because I watched it when I was very young, mind you. For the first time, I was like 5 or 6. And it shaped me, literally. I love Peter Parker's character. I like to be a goofy, kind, and loving person. But, when he needs to get serious, he'll get serious. I think that's just such a ideal person. He's very role model. So for me, Spider-Man, thank you for existing. Stan Lee, big ups. Sam Raimi, thanks for making these movies. Just keep watching Spider-Man. And for those who haven't seen No Way Home yet, just watch it and you won't be spoiled.
Surprises all around, yeah. Spider-Man 2002 for me is a favourite to watch. From the awesome Spider-Man costume to Willem Dafoe's and J.K. Simmons' excellent performances to Danny Elfman's iconic theme. For me, it might not be the best Spider-Man film there's ever been, but I believe it's the most important. Until Spider-Man X-Men came out, pretty much 2002, Marvel had no history of any successful superhero films. In fact, Marvel went bankrupt.
It's crazy to think nowadays.
That's why Sony has the rights to Spider-Man in the first place, because they were about to go bankrupt and had to sell the licenses out. They even sold out Daredevil, they sold out Fantastic Four and everything like that to other... I think New Line got Blade, that's why Blade was one of the first ones that came out. But before Spider-Man came out, only Superman and Batman were really successful films, and X-Men as well. So before those two, so you had Superman in 78, you had Batman in 89, you had Batman Returns, which wasn't as successful, but then Forever and Robin until that died out. DC pretty much owned the superhero movie. And it wasn't until X-Men. X-Men started it, but Spider-Man completely knocked down the door and said, hey, we're Marvel, we're here to stay, and if it wasn't for this film, there would be no MCU.
Pretty much.
Now the tables have flipped.
Yeah, they've actually just flipped over.
That's it.
Just think of the last couple of DC movies, no one's really been happy with.
No.
Iron Man wouldn't have been made if Spider-Man hadn't been made first.
Yeah, that's true. And they all say Tony Stark's what made Spider-Man. Nope. You're wrong.
Nope, it was definitely Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi. I think Raimi was the right person for the job at the right time, because he's a fan.
He's a fan, and he had the vision of what he wanted and what the fans wanted.
It was a bit daunting for him because he went from super low budget filmmaking to working with a lot bigger budget, and it's paid off.
We talking about? He did Hercules and Xena. Hercules, my friend Hercules.
Yeah, so going back to low budget.
Going from Evil Dead and those low budget horror movies.
That's sometimes a good thing though, because
Spider-Man.
The more, if you get low budget and then you get thrusted into a massive budget, just let your brain go wild. And then that's where obviously your team will come in and also.
What happened with Peter Jackson with Lord of the Rings as well.
It's actually probably the best way for a filmmaker to be, because independent filmmakers know how to actually stretch a coin, stretch the money. So therefore, if you've got a big budget, you can actually fit more into it because you know actually how to make the most out of all your equipment anyway. So again, like you say, Peter Jackson, Sam Raimi, who all started low budget, made amazing films because they knew exactly how to get it made, pretty much because of the fact that they know how to make things cheaper than they should.
They knew the system.
If you like what you hear or have a question for us, perhaps about Spider-Man, well, you can contact us. That's right, you can go to Nobody Does It Bennett on Facebook, or you can hit us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. It's a Bennett, 2 N's and 2 T's. There are many ways to talk movies or video games with us. Why not contact us? You can also go onto Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or to the webpage nobodydoesitbennett.buzzsprout.com if you want to listen and subscribe to the podcast. Tenson, Keelin,
Greg.
thank you.
Greg.
Peter. Yeah, just one more before we go.
Thank you so much for coming along for the Spidey adventure.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a blast.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you for listening. And remember, some others may do it better, but nobody does it Bennett. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, very good.
It's the end of the show, and now it's time to go. Don't be sad, just be glad. Then nobody does it better.